It's anyways. But yeah, we're live.
No, are we live yet? No.
It's live right now.
Oh, we are. Okay. Hey, everybody. You are watching and listening to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin. I'm joined by my co-host, the Chill Meister, or the Chill, if we're going to be going Game of Thrones style, Chill Meister, Jay Christian Gary from Focus Fights.
You got it right the first time, Andrew. Still, though, what's good, y'all? Hope everybody's enjoying the crazy summer breakout weather that's been happening. Also, we got JayWolf in SoCal, and we got CJ out. Okay, how are you? I mean, I hope you're doing all right, Jay.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we got
CJ.
CJ.
Beautiful right now.
Mm-hmm. And we got CJ out in Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan. How are you, sir?
It's been really hot every day, but besides that, I'm doing fine.
Hey,
different
than what's going on down here in my neck of the woods, dude. And especially where Jay is. I heard it was like 130 in Death Valley or some shit. No, something like that.
Yeah, that's way inland. I'm here on the coast, brother. I'm on the coast, and it's nice in the nice 80s right now.
Yeah, of course. But still, though.
Oh, Jay, I have to take issue something with just what you said, CJ. I hesitate to say Yokohama because you are in the sticks of Yokohama. I wouldn't even consider it Yokohama.
I'm one station away.
You're one station away. That's a 30-minute walk.
No, but I'm still in Yokohama. Yokohama's a big city.
I know, but that's like saying, I live in Manhattan, but then I'm near Brooklyn.
I've never been in New York, so your example means nothing to me.
Exactly.
I mean, Andrew, you still have to cross that Brooklyn Bridge just to get there.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. But I apologize. I'm just going to take over for a bit, Jay Chris. I believe that you were going to say we are talking about Bellator X Rizin. Unfortunately, incorrect. We are not talking.
We're not talking about Bellator.
We're going to be talking deep. We're going to be talking about deep Narigara, the Narigara show.
What the heck is that?
Really, dude?
Get that off the screen. Come on, we're talking about Bellator times Rizin. Come on, we got Rizin times Bellator.
Oh, fine.
The deep show sold out.
Trolling us, Andrew. We're talking about Super Rizin 2, which will take place from the Saitama Super Arena in Saitama City, Saitama Prefecture, Japan. It will take place on Showtime first for the Bellator portion at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Well, not midnight Eastern, 9 p.m.
11 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific during the Crawford Spence 2 pay-per-view, which, of course, will also be distributed by Showtime, which means no more Ronaldo. So Sean Grady will take his
pay-per-view, and then you can flip it right over to Showtime right after the Spence Crawford pay-per-view. The Bellator portion of the Super Rizin card starts at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Then go ahead, finish it up, Jay Chris. You know the rest it flips over to Fight TV.
Of course. Fight TV pay-per-view courtesy of Integrated Sports. 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific. Get your pay-per-view for $20. You will see 7 incredible fights on that card, including 3 world title fights, 2 vacancies to fill up, by the way. Let's talk about them in order from non-title to title fights, shall we?
Sure.
Before we do, I would just like to reiterate, though, this is not a Bellator versus Rizin card. This is Bellator and Rizin smushed together.
Bellator times Rizin, not Bellator versus Rizin. Bellator times.
Rizin. So
isn't this like the Super Rizin card? And the
That's
other
right, the Rizin portion.
The other part's called Bellator versus Rizin or something.
No, that's a confusing thing because usually Bellator numbers their shows. So, but I guess they're just calling that Bellator versus Rizin or Bellator and Rizin or Bellator X Rizin. I'm a little bit confused.
Bellator X Rizin means Bellator times Rizin. So it's like they're multiplying together to produce a Pride Bushido level.
Do we need Bellator to multiply? I don't think we need that.
Yes. Bellator, sending elite fighters over in the superior rule set of Epic Rizin Yes, multiply that, please.
No, we
Hey,
don't.
we got two crossover. We got two collaboration super fights officially, and then a couple more unofficial collaboration super fights, and then another collaboration with Combate Global. Not just Bellator is collaborating on this. What I call a summer blockbuster collaboration mega event. The first of possibly two.
On JayWolf, what were the unofficial ones?
Remember, on the Bellator portion is Kana Watanabe versus Vita Artiga.
That's not canon. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. What are you talking
Okay,
about?
That's not a crossover fight. Kana Watanabe is a Bellator fighter.
That's true.
Okay, well, so's Tofik Musayev, but he's the number 3 Bellator lightweight right now, and he's in an unofficial collaboration super fight on the Super Rizin card portion versus Akira, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Akira Okada, according to Tapology, the number 1 ranked lightweight in Japan.
Is that true? Would you agree with that, CJ?
Cannot be true at all.
I think Yuri Ohara and Satoshi Soza would take.
Isn't Satoshi Soza like light years ahead of Akira?
Look, I'm just saying what it says right here. It says Akira Okada, 19-9-4, the number 1 lightweight Japan. Maybe they're talking about number 1 Japanese lightweight, or I don't know. I mean,
Topology's rankings probably haven't been updated since
actually
1993.
Also, Tapology is stupidly having these shows in separate pages, and it really irritates me.
Good. Keep it separate.
No, this is one thing. This is one thing.
Keep the Bellator filth out of the Rising portion.
This is the for research purposes.
CJ, what are you talking about? That's what makes it cool. Having the elite fighters from Bellator under the superior rule set. At least, well, we only get 2 this time and 1 Combate Global, but still.
We get elite and we get Vita Arteaga. That's how it comes down to.
Well, that's on the Bellator portion. That doesn't count because they're under the pussified rule set of UFC or the quote unquote unified rules, which I like to call the pussified rules.
Our friend the Falling Star has the first comment of the night. He says, "This is the biggest combat sport week ever in Japan ever. Inoue versus Fulton and Super Rizin. Combat sport glory in Japan is slowly and surely coming back."
Yes.
I guess we could also add to that the K1. Was this the 10th reiteration, 10th rebirth of K1 at this point? K1, I guess.
Well, actually,
it's alive and as well.
Oh, sorry,
yeah, with the whole K1 thing, they're basically looking to become more global than they were before because, of course, isolation over the last 8 years due to the fact that they couldn't get any foreign talent.
What CJ? I'm just curious to know, how was the rebirth K1 announcements like I guess covered or taken in Japan?
It seemed like a lot of people had high expectations for the announcement, and people were kind of universally let down. Is what I noticed, because I think at least on the Rising Discord, it seemed like people were hopeful that they were bringing like heroes back.
Yeah,
and then they kind of announced this partnership with Quintet, which makes sense because they're kind of both Abima companies. But I saw a lot of like Japanese fans on Twitter being like, K1 fans don't care about grappling tournaments. So
it was really a weird combination. Like,
yeah.
if it was K1 doing MMA, I could kind of be like, like the hero thing, like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But there's a reason why a lot of kickboxing fans obviously would not like grappling. A lot of grappling fans would not like kickboxing. Though I did hear that the show that they're running on September 10th, they will be separate shows. So you're not paying like 1 ticket to see K1 and Quintet. The K1
part of me is wondering if it's like a money thing because K1 has a new leader and maybe Abima is thinking, since we're going to show Quintet and K1, maybe it's cheaper if we just rent one venue for 1 day and get all the staff there, film both of them essentially in the same day, and don't have to separate it, and we can save some money.
Well, also I'll be in your neck of the woods in Yokohama, the whole Yokohama arena, right?
Okay. I can go watch an unnamed person convicted of various crimes fight Sakuraba's son, so it should be fun.
It's only on the Quintet portion, though. It's only on Quintet. The K1 side is nice and pure still. They're still having the 8-man one-night Grand Prix tournaments. They're trying to take it worldwide. I hope we're going to get international access, and it's going to be awesome.
But
What was
still,
that?
though,
What was
the thing-
Dogman's tweet on Twitter? He was like explaining the history of K1. K1 died, and another company named themselves K1. Then K1 became K1, and K1 became K1, and K1 became K1. Like it's just like this incredibly complicated history now.
yeah, it is very
It's that
complicated.
format.
But it is very complicated. But the thing I want to basically ask, when it comes down to, when it comes down to how they're going to distribute this, especially if they want to have events, both Quintet again and K1 again, having events in the United States, considering the fact that they had events in California and Nevada not too long in the distant past ago, how do you think it's going to be able to work here if we can't see their events take place here and have to go through some third party like Abema?
Oh, I think they'll make them available in the United States pretty easily. I mean, they had the entire press conference was in English. Well, was spoken.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
And
Cool.
they have all the teams are made up with the exception of Team Sakuraba. Actually, no, I know Hasim Rita's on. I think he's on Team Sakuraba, but it's mostly made up of foreigners. So clearly, at least Quintet. I don't know. I shouldn't even say that. K1 has that heavyweight Grand Prix as well. They had the Japanese fighters speaking, or not, well, overdubbed in English or whatever. So clearly, I JayWolf, sorry, but they've already like usurped Rizin in terms of like how like
Wow.
putting out English like outreach, whatever.
It's sad but true, Andrew. And
I don't know
come
if
to
I
think
agree
of
with
it,
that. I don't know
come
if
to
I
think
agree.
of it, when you got Stuart Fulton and the voice, Michael Cervello, good night, Irene, being a part of your entire press conference, there's no point as to basically make comparisons. K1 and Quintet is just more adept at English-speaking coverage than Rizin is at this point. Wouldn't y'all
I
agree?
don't know if I agree with that. What's the distributor? What's the distributor for K1? Because Rizin is Fight TV. The K1 don't have no Fight TV deal. So
not yet.
Didn't Quintet used to be on? Is Quintet still on Fight Pass?
No,
I think so.
not anymore. I can nope, it's not. I can tell you it's no longer on UFC Fight Pass anymore. I can't get into the specifics here, but it's
this just reeks to me of like that Rising press conference in Vegas where they announced, what did they first call it? Like Stream Pass. And no, it was just like, oh yeah, we're holding this giant press conference in English about how we're going to go global. But then when it came down to like specific questions of like, oh, who's your distributor and how's this going to be accessible outside of Japan? There was just, oh, we'll answer that later. And then years later, and the Rising streaming service is still exclusive to only the Japanese market. So
yeah, I mean, and yet they're still advertising on the Rising English Twitter.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's just like
they have a link tree up with the Rising Hunter Club, as CJ's talking about. The next one is only available in Japan, and nothing about Fight TV except in their bio link. It's like, dude, come on, I could easily work for you guys and take care of this stuff for you. Open an LA office, Sakakibara-san. Open an LA office. Let's get it started here.
Is this just a classic example though of like K1 wanting to look like an international company? And so they don't have any plans for an international distributor, but they're like, let's just do everything in English, because then everyone's going to think that we're a global big company. But then there's like actually no follow through.
I mean, they went beyond, I mean, they did ship, Michael Chiavello did come to Japan. They definitely
Well,
did,
I mean, even the Rising shows have English announcers though.
Oh, by Zoom. Listen, if they bring in Michael Chiavello, like he's physically, and him and Stuart Fulton are like physically in, that's already like 1,000 stuff.
Do you think they're gonna fly him in for every show?
Maybe whatever, not the Mac shows, but at least maybe like the big ones. Maybe that's at least what I'm thinking.
I mean,
he's close by. Is he in Australia or New Zealand, right?
Australia. Yeah. Oh, that's not that far. That's like $200. That's a round trip. Probably.
I mean, but come to think
slight
of
exaggeration.
Would you think that Michael Chiavello, I mean, given the fact that he's been doing combat sports for the last 30 plus years, wouldn't you think that Michael Chiavello is a big upgrade to Joe Ferraro and Damian Beatdown Brown? No disrespect to either of those two.
No, the only advantage he's got is that he's going to be there live, unless he does Zoom commentary as well. That's the only way that they're going to beat it. I mean, dude, if it wasn't for the Zoom commentary, it'd be just fine. Okay, because and all they got to do is just not yell into the microphone when they're doing Zoom and blow out our speakers, and it's fine as well. So,
or the easiest answer would be not to do Zoom commentary.
Exactly.
I'm hesitant.
CJ.
I'm hesitant to say anything about like K1 until we see what it actually looks like.
That's fair. That's what Babu Jack is saying actually in the comments. Said which
did they pay Michael Chiavallo to come out for one show, or is he actually going to start coming to all these shows? Like, I'm curious to see what the actual follow through.
I got a press release in English. Never got K1 stuff ever before, so someone sent my email to K1 to send me the press release. So
nice. That's well
that's
English international distribution.
That's already better than what the bullshit. Is it past 5 minutes? Yeah, past bullshit that we had to deal with K1. Under Nakamura.
I will say, under old K1, they were like incredibly closed off and probably impossible to get any media stuff from.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why all their fires left, or all their big fires left, because it's like,
well,
it's really like.
That's really why all this change is happening, because with Takeru leaving and then all of their other stars just like leaving like rats leaving a sinking ship, K1 had to do something kind of like save. But
that's good. That's good that they can look inside and be like, okay, there's clearly a problem here. Okay, it's clearly Nakamura is causing problems here because he's being an asshole. So whatever it was, that Korean guy or whoever owns K1 at this point.
The guy in Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong, excuse me. Or Abima, they got rid of him. They hired this Carlos Kikuta guy. Don't know anything about him. But so there's at least that's a positive that they can look inward and be like, okay, something's not working here. Let's try to like fix it. I can at least give them
as long as they keep the
Grand
Prix. As long as they keep that one night Grand Prix format, it'll be King K1. So,
well, listen, JayWolf, you already got your Grand Prix in Rizin. They're doing the dance Grand Prix.
Hey, and you know what? Since you're talking about future stuff with K1, what about the future announcements for Epic Rizin on Jim Ozekli's podcast, Yamato Damashi with Ensign Inoue, where he was talking about Rizin 44 and then Landmark 6 being a week or two apart. Rizin 44 is going to be on September 24th, and then the Landmark 6 event is going to be on this October 4th or 6th or something like that.
Is that great, apart. CJ? All those events.
But at least I think they're like, one is in Aichi, right? They're kind of like in different parts of the country.
Oh, are we sure? Are we sure they're not going to do a triple Tokyo header?
Sakakibara announced them at the last show, right? It was in one of the press conference.
I got the calendar up on my end. Rizin 44 is going to take place September 24th from the Saitama Super Arena in Saitama City, Saitama Prefecture, Japan.
Big
and
show.
October 1st, Rizin Landmark 6 will take place in Nagoya, Aichi, Japan. No word on if it's going to be at Dolphins Arena or not, but it probably might be there.
So at least they're kind of like spread across the country.
And
I'm interested because, as Daniel Zuzeki brought up, if there's no more shows before the New Year's Eve show, it kind of leaves like this awkward 3-month gap between shows. So I'm kind of hoping Rising announces something for like November as well. It makes no sense for them to cram Landmark right after that show if they have nothing else planned until December.
Well, why are they doing that? Why are they putting them a week apart? And I'll answer you. For Fight TV bundle for international fans, it's going to be bundled. There's going to be a huge show on the 24th, on September 24th. So, remember on the Yamato Damashi Jim's podcast with Ensign Inoue, he was saying that he started the rumor that Bellator is going to send over some more fighters. Going to be possibly another collaboration mega event there's going to be 2 summer blockbuster collaboration mega event. This Super Rizin card being one of them, and the Rizin 44 being the other, and then they're going to bundle that with Landmark 6, which they also might have some Bellator fighters.
I hate to pop your enthusiasm bubble, but I don't think Rising's making a lot of their strategic plans based off of Fight TV sales.
No, they're not.
I'm pretty sure that the 30 international pay-per-views they get for each one of their events isn't enough for them to design their
They
strategy around it.
probably 20 of those are from JayWolf, Wolf J, J Dog,
Hey, as long as
Jay
they're
Wolf
bundled,
with 2 Fs.
if it's another bundle deal, that's a win for me. Okay, that's gonna be a win.
But,
if it's a bundle deal on Fight TV,
we-
that's a win.
We have another quick question, and I'm going to put this to you, JayWolf, since you're the Bellator expert here. And Falling Star wants to know any believers about the UFC and Bellator fighters webpage. Well, to kind of also answer that, we saw MVP today at the London show.
Thank you. Yeah, MVP was at the UFC London show today, and they even had a graphic on screen saying Michael Benham Page, blah blah blah, and they didn't say Bellator fighter; it said British MMA fighter.
Well,
and it had his record and everything.
Isn't MVP like announced as a free agent at the moment?
Yes.
I think,
but he's still under matching rights.
I think the matching rights is over. They announced or something.
Did they? Garbaka Hitman, one of the goats of Twitter, if not the goat of Twitter, Kaposa, he said that on a reply tweet saying that he's still under matching rights. So,
well, I mean, doesn't Bellator also have a bunch of fighters that don't fight in UFC on their website, and they've been there since like April? Part of me thinks this is just like an insidious plan to direct Google traffic to them.
Yes,
like if you search for Alima Lane McFarland,
that's
goes
what
to their
Teep
website
said.
instead of Bellator.
That's what Teep said, because there were some weird ones like Jose Canseco is one of them. You know what I mean? So it's like that was the theory that Teep was saying, that just trying to direct traffic to the website, which I guess is a plausible theory. So. But it's more fun to think about the other way.
I got a question directed at me. Oh, sorry, CJ, go ahead.
There's just certain Bellator fighters that I don't see like ever really wanting to go to the UFC. So I mean, like, doesn't really make sense for them to have them on their webpage.
I got a question directed at me from our good friend Jacob Ayers, who says, Andrew, will you be reviewing the GLEAT MMA Sumo Hall show? And I don't know if any of you have seen, well, they've only announced one fight for that card. And can you guess which veteran MMA UFC Pride fighter is on that show about looking it up? CJ, take a guess. CJ, first CJ.
Can you give me the hints again? I'm sorry.
A former UFC and Pride veteran.
UFC and Pride. I'm saying he's Japanese.
Yes.
Ooh, it's interesting. Was it Cal Uno or something?
No, but same weight class, I believe. JayWolf, take a guess.
Oh, I don't even know. Zmon now, or what's not minimum on Z?
Nope. Chris.
Yuki Kondo.
That's actually would be a great guess, but no.
Damn.
Get this name. Get this. Akihiro Gono.
The Magic Man?
The Afro Man?
Yes, the Afro Man. And I'm going to share this page because this is the guy who he's fighting.
Shit.
8 seconds.
Really?
This is absolutely insane who he's fighting.
How long has it been since Akihiro Gono fought?
Let's see.
Fights every day of his life, J. Chris.
Look at who he's. If you guys can see, look at the guy he's fighting. Look at the guy who's fighting. 0-1.
Tetsuya Izushi.
0-1. 37, 24, and 8 is Gono's record for the GLEAT show.
The dude is 48 years old. Why would he still be fighting?
Hey, the guy he's fighting is ranked in the top 1,200 in Japan. So I mean,
oh Lord, don't give me that bullshit. Do not give me that bullshit.
The answer, Jacob, because I love the first GLEAT show so much, especially when that kickboxer threw up right after his fight.
Yes. Oh Lord.
Yes. GLEAT is the second best MMA promotion right now in
behind
Japan.
Deep Kick.
MMA. I'll say MMA.
Okay.
Deep Kick only has kick. CJ, you gotta see the first GLEAT show because it is gotta be the Z. It's gotta be the what is it? The Full Moon Pictures. If you get that reference of MMA promotions, it is so awful. Like that they're having pro wrestlers take on MMA fighters. This is like something out of like the original Pride and New Japan. I love it.
And they only did that like once or twice in Almighty Pride FC. This is like an entire show of it, right? With the GEEKS. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Sakuraba waves his
Jacob
fist
Myers,
angrily at
he
you.
corrected me. It was not a kickboxer who threw up. It was a pro wrestler, but it was during the kickboxing match, I believe, that he threw up because the pro wrestler was in a kickboxing match, I believe.
So basically, Andrew, you're saying this is like Full Moon Pictures. What are you trying to call this show? Puppet Master 2?
Maybe like, I don't know, was it Nazis versus Puppet Masters or whatever that one is?
Oh dear God.
Jacob Myers also says that Shinya Aoki is running all the young GEEK wrestlers by booking them in one-sided MMA fights, and that Yuki's a pro wrestler and he got destroyed on that first GEEK MMA show. So of course, why not have him fight Akihiro Gono? Of course. Anyway, back on topic. Super Rise 2. CJ, are you going to the show or no? Did you get priced out?
I'm going.
Really? Because I thought you said
media. I'm going as media.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Are you
going to say
going to both of them? Both portions or just the Rizin portion?
I don't know. I might just show up late.
So how are is the show sold out or is it like close to sold out? I believe it's close to
Not sold out, but like a lot of the sections are sold out. There's the cheapest sections and the most expensive section are still available.
Okay. Before we
sell out by the end of the week, for sure it'll sell out. I mean, it's already almost sold out. You said so. You don't think so? I bet you it will. Watch before the end of the week's over, it'll sell out.
Before the show, so not counting walk up.
What do you mean? So wait, that counts? Of course it counts. The show.
Well, but if you're saying before the end of the week, that means before the show starts.
Well, okay, by showtime it'll be sold out. How about that?
I'll agree with JayWolf, and by showtime, it'll be announced that it's sold out.
Wait, hold on. So, okay, by showtime. So, are you saying that showtime, the channel is going to say that we sold out?
It'll be announced that it's sold out.
Showtime's going to score over 100,000 subscription viewers because they're going to advertise it during Spence Crawford, and there's going to be some curious boxing crossover fans are going to flip over.
I thought Spence already promoted it.
Yeah, he did. I did more underneath this tweet to promote it because he was talking trash on it. I was like, hey, wait a minute, guy. This is freaking going to be awesome. And you're not going to want to miss this. And the supervisor portion.
Sorry, Jay. Sorry, I got to get back on track. Before we start, I always like to do a vote on the Rizin posters. And unfortunately, this is the only one that I could fit on my screen and time period. So, CJ, I know you collect some of these Rizin posters. How does the Rizin poster Super Rizin, whatever the fuck this show's called, poster.
Super Rizin 2.
I know, but Bellator X Rizin, Super Rizin 2.
Bellator times Rizin and Super Rizin 2.
What would you get this poster, CJ? Would you buy it?
Yeah, it's not like it's not one of the Rising ones that sticks out to me, but it's clearly better than like any Bellator poster that's ever been designed. So
absolutely.
And
you
Bellator better than
Bellator poster for this show is horrendous. If you've seen it, it's horrendous. It's absolutely god. I didn't even download a picture.
Hey, Drew, are you talking about the one where they have Pitbull McKee listed and like 3 different pictures of them and listed 3 different times?
Yes, that was who was it? Somebody said they'd never seen one fighter's picture so many times on a poster before.
That's it. That's how creatively bankrupt Bellator is that
see it's not as, but I still think the funniest like graphic recently was the Deep Jewels one with Anouk on it, because they just used the same picture of her and you reversed it to make it look like they have other pictures of her.
Let's see. Jacob Myers says it's very Tai Chi, and I don't think he means the wrestler. I like the yin yang formation on it.
Yeah.
Jay-Wolf, you agree? Kind of like,
oh yeah, I do wish.
That's why I wish this was Bellator versus Rizin, because then you could have like some of the Bellator fighters on like one part of the yin, and then the other Rizin fighters on the yang or whatever. So I wish we could.
They kind of did it that way.
no, it's not the same. It's not. It's Bellator X Rise. It's not Bellator versus Rise. Well, why is
Bellator times
Shinryu?
Rizin. We're
Well,
multiplying
Shinryu's
here.
on Shinryu's on the Bellator side. Shinryu and okay, because they put the Bellator fights on one
Yes.
side. I meant like the Bellator fighters. Like if
Oh,
they're
I
doing a
see what you're
Bellator
saying. So
versus
you want
Rise
the
show.
Bellator fighters and the Rizin fighters on each side. So you don't want just the one portion being the yin, the other portion being the yang. You
Yeah,
wanted the
yeah.
fighters mix on each side, like the
And-
Bellator fighters on the yin, Rizin fighters on the yang.
Yeah, I don't know if my post was even updated. Does it have Hiromasu Ogakubi on it, or is Kai still on it?
It's,
can't
I
tell.
think that is the updated one.
yeah.
Okay.
Here,
Jay-
lean the other way, Drew. Lean the other,
sorry,
way.
sorry. How about now?
There we go.
Is
No, that's the old one. There's Kai right there.
okay.
That's the old one.
Mm,
well, barring that, Jay Chris, good poster, thumbs up.
Yeah,
Thumbs
that's
up.
right.
very high in the air. I mean, come to think of it, it shows just how much creativity Rizin actually puts into their posters, especially considering that Pride used to do them like that, Dream used to do them like that. I mean, I just don't see why Bellator can't have that.
Yeah, no, listen, I'll make fun of Bellator for a lot of things, but one of the things I will absolutely harp on is how awful their marketing and just whoever's creative there is not creative. Whatever intern is doing these posters for them or whatever.
Hey, at least they've been tweeting about it though. Same with the Rizin English. They've been tweeting about it, and and on the Combate Global broadcast, they've been bringing up Claire Lopez and Izawa almost
that the
every
posters are
single
awful?
Combate Global. What?
The posters are awful.
No, they're bringing up the fights, they're talking
mean-
about marketing.
Oh, I
stuff.
thought they were talking about that they're bringing up
Come to think of
the
it-
posters are awful.
Come to think of
No,
it,
the
Jay, are
posters
they
are
doing,
badass.
I mean, is Combate Global putting that over on the Paramount Plus broadcast
Yes.
or on Univision?
I do not know. I've been watching the Paramount Plus broadcast, and they have definitely been bringing it up almost every single show. They're the guys, the brass behind it, like Campbell McLaren, Mike Afromowitz. They have been tweeting about it as well. Claire Lopez has been tweeting about it. So I mean, there's
I would hope Claire Lopez is doing that because she is on the card. I will say this on the last Bellator show, which was the what was it? I forgot the show. What was the show again? Jay?
Bellator 297.
297. What was the main event of that? I forgot. Please remind me.
Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank now because we're live as well.
Okay, whatever show that was, they didn't even they had no mention of it from what I recall, or they mentioned it like
They did. No, they only mentioned the Bellator portion though. They didn't mention the Rizin portion.
Meanwhile,
Rizin
Rizin put out a commercial or something highlighting both shows.
The Bellator 297 main event was Victor Nimkov versus Romero.
Oh yeah.
But-
Oh,
George,
no wonder.
Nimkov
No wonder I
Romero. How
didn't
can you forget
remember
that.
that.
God, it's because it's
Mhm.
live. It's
But
'cause it's
still,
live.
though, I get what you mean. They weren't putting over the entire card, just their portion. Meanwhile, Juan Archuleta had to go out of his way via Danny Brenner, his PR guy, the Bellator PR guy, to basically put over his appearance on live with Kelly and Mark or whatever, which I
That
did
was
record,
cool.
by the way.
That what Jay Chris is talking about, where Juan Archuleta went on the broadcast TV, one of the morning shows, and was talking about the Epic Rizin and the superior rule set, explaining about how you can, soccer kick and stomp on the ground. It was wonderful.
Jacob
it was
Ayers,
great to see.
JayWolf, Jacob Ayers brings up a great point. He says, if you learn Spanish, you can become a Combate Global announcer for Univision. So perhaps you should start taking those classes. 'Cause I think because your passion for Combate Global is you might be a unique soul in that in that venture.
Hey, I would love to.
CJ, are people talking about? Well, is it? I don't know. Do you hear like people saying like talking about the Bellator and Rizin proportion as like differently, or is there anything like that going on? Or like, oh, I'm not looking forward to anything on the Bellator, or I'm not even paying attention to that, or vice versa with Rizin?
No, I haven't really heard people. It's because like the TV broadcasting is treating it as a separate event, but from what I've noticed, everyone's just kind of talking about it as if it's one big event.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
Nice.
So let us get into the first fight of the show. And you can see my graphic behind me, We
Well,
got the
I would just like to add, I don't think the
yes.
fight order has been officially announced.
Yeah, no, yeah,
That's
but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first fight because it's Tofik. As you said, CJ, Tofik has a very he has a following. Does he still have a following in Japan? Do people
I think
still
so. I think so.
Should.
I don't know if he has a following, but people like remember him.
okay.
Yeah,
Taking
Grand Prix
on
champion.
number one lightweight, apparently Akira. I don't believe that at all. I have
Well, that's
Tapology.
for the Tapology. So
Well,
I mean, that's
Tapology is wrong about many things, many things. It looks like this was going to originally be him versus Gustavo, but Gustavo got injured.
Yep.
DJ, is Akira a step down? Were you kind of like deflating, like, oh, Tofik versus Akira, really?
Isn't Gustavo fighting on this card?
no.
No, he was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something. I'm thinking of Vugar. Yeah, it was. You're right. No, I mean this. I expect Tofik to kind of run through Akira. I know Akira's like now. I think he's the Pancrase champion. He defeated Kume by like split decision, but I think Tofik's gonna be much bigger than him. I mean, Akira's kind of short for the weight class anyway. I think Tofik is just gonna like absolutely destroy him.
Also, Akira's kind of big in his own way because don't forget he's got the nickname the Gorilla.
Well, he's like squat. He's like thick, but he's not tall. And Tofik's way bigger, has a longer reach, and has knockout power. So
yes,
I think Tofik's gonna knock Akira out pretty quickly.
Isn't Akira coming off a win?
Yeah, split decision win over Kume.
Okay, Akira
also
a win.
had one of the worst fights.
Coming off of a loss, coming off of a rib-breaking loss to Shabali.
Wasn't Tofik looking good before the loss? Wasn't he like performing well?
It was back and forth, CJ. It wasn't like one person was beating the other really bad. It was like a back and forth, kind of like a striking battle. And some people were saying Tofik was doing a little better. Some people were saying Shabali was doing better. But in the end, Shabali ended up.
Jay, I'm gonna translate for that. I'm gonna translate that in Andrew speak. It was pretty boring. It was basically it was borderline cardio kickboxing. It was not the Tofik that we usually see. And then
before that, Tofik knocked that guy out in like 20 seconds, right?
Yep.
Sydney Outlaw.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, Akira is not a finisher. He's a big decision guy, and Tofik knocks a lot of people out. And he's got the size advantage. He's going to be bigger, taller, longer reach. I think everything favors Tofik going into this fight.
JayWolf, do you concur with that? Or
yes,
you keep on bringing up the loss? You bring up the loss. I mean, I don't think his rib broke.
Yes, it did. According to reports, his rib was at least fractured. At least fractured. If not broken, it was at least fractured. And that's why he was playing it off like it was a low blow. He was trying to play it up. You know what I mean? Because he knew it was fractured. So he was like, oh, he's trying to get it to be like a no contest because of a low blow. But they did the review of the tape. If you remember, they reviewed the tape and said, oh, whoa, it was actually a Shabali, a straight kick to the rib cage that did it. So, and he was awarded a TKO win. And it wasn't a bore fest like you're saying, Drew. Come on. It was pretty good. Good technical kickboxing and some grappling and stuff was there.
Why do I feel like whenever someone describes something as technical, that means boring?
It's like saying someone's an all-rounder.
Have a finish. Yeah. No, it just didn't have a finish.
No, it did have a finish.
It did have a finish, but it didn't have the Rock'em robots up until the
problem was it was two tentative fighters who were afraid to put in the extra gas in the pedal. But listen,
wait, is this the fight? JayWolf, is this the fight where you flipped out that they ruined it by like having the ref come in and look at it or something?
No, it was because 297 had the weird, mysterious late start, 47-minute late start that screwed up the entire order of the card. Remember? And we never got an explanation of why it got a late start. Was the
because of the ambulance? Because of Chicago. Probably they were probably responding to a murder, or at least 5 of them.
Nah, if it's Chicago, they were probably responding to dozens of murders happening at the same time.
Before we go to you, Jay Chris, I just want to quickly, JayWolf, you think that, so you keep on saying this loss by, obviously he must be medically cleared and the rib must be all better. So
yeah.
I don't think that's a
The
factor.
rib's fine. It was probably a fracture. It's probably healed up now. Just saying, remember, he's coming off a TKO loss. I'm talking about in regards to momentum here, MMA momentum. Tofik is coming off a loss. Akira's coming off a win. So that could play a factor here. But look, Tofik is an absolute killer, former Grand Prix champion, the current number 3 ranked Bellator lightweight, and that's one of Bellator's Shark Tank divisions. And he knows how to utilize the superior rule set. Plus, if you remember, Sakaki Bara-san and Shingo-san, they went to Tofik's native Azerbaijan, and they're going to set up a future Epic Rizin event in that region there in Azerbaijan. In the
Azerbaijan now.
Why did Sakaki Bara-san go there? Remember, it was to set up. He was talking about doing a future show there in Azerbaijan. That's pretty close to where Dagestan is, so we can see a show with the Epic Rizin superior rule set, with all these Dagestanis and Russians, Azerbaijanis, all these killer, Slavic regions fighters, and it would just be absolutely insane, just an incredible international show.
JayWolf, are there any other war-torn regions that you think Rising is going to go to?
Well, is it war-torn right now? Is Azerbaijan
just go to war with Armenia, a couple of
Ukraine or
feet
something?
fought in the war?
Yeah, but they're not at war right now, right? So and look, Tofik is in a high-profile unofficial collaboration super fight here, and in the main event with Mikura Action Brother Azakura, he's fighting Tofik's teammate Vugar Karamov, another.
Okay, JayWolf, just quickly, you think Tofik will win?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Just gonna read the 2 comments. I'll go to you, Jay Chris. Jacob Iyer says Rizin needs to bring in the Tajik MMA fighters to show real Central Asian strength to the Japanese.
Yes. Bring as many international fighters as possible.
And becoming the country to watch. Doing shows and dictatorships. Next, Rizin Myanmar. Okay. Jay Chris? Jay Chris, are you still there?
Your reception's really bad, Andrew.
Oh, sorry. Well, Jay Chris, tell us your thoughts on this fight.
Oh, on this fight? Oh, that's easy. Tofik smokes him. Plain and simple. Because he hasn't been in the superior rule set in a little over 2 years. I mean, he's been struggling to try and adapt to Bellator. I wouldn't say struggling in a bad way. I mean, he's basically having some growing pains, how to understand Bellator's rule set. So, which is, of course, the, pussified rules or the unified rule set. But still, point of the matter is that Tofik Musayev just needs, a change of scenery, a return back to his combative roots. And even though he hasn't fought in Rizin in over 2 years since he lost to Roberto Satoshi de Souza at the Tokyo Dome for the lightweight title, I think that he's going to give Akira Okada, the gorilla, one hell of an ass whooping. I just think that Musayev needs, a fresh change of scenery. And what better way than to kick Akira Okada's ass, possibly in the first round. If it's in the second or third round, you'll know that it's going to be a technical fight and it's going to be completely boring. But, in order for it to be truly epic, it's got to end in a first round finish.
I agree. I think it's a unanimous decision that Tofik's going to probably smoke Akira. If it gets past the first round, I would honestly be very surprised. And I think that makes Tofik look bad if he can't finish Akira in the first round. That's as simple as that. Anna says, hello, everybody. Thank you for the live stream. My favorite guys, Andrew, Chris-san, CJ-san, JayWolf. Well, JayWolf-san, obviously she means. So, hello, Anna.
Konnichiwa, Anna-chan.
How you doing?
JayWolf has not earned the san.
Oh,
he is JayWolf. He is JayWolf Chan.
JayWolf Kun or JayWolf. How about JayWolf Yan? JayWolf Yan.
Hey, does those mean good things or bad things? If they're bad things, no, it's san. Otherwise, whatever.
WMMA scene now. Says anyone remember that old pancreas guy who kept kicking that Azerbaijani guy in the nuts back in Pride? And they just
What are you
the answer just came,
saying?
Babu Jack clarified that was Tamara. Kyoshi Tamara?
Yeah.
Unless there's a different Tamara? Okay. So we're gonna go from lightweight to JayWolf's apparently his favorite new weight class now, flyweight, because that's all I hear you talk about is flyweight, JayWolf. And
You want me to start on this one?
What, sorry?
You want me to start this one?
You love flyweight. Go right ahead, homie.
Yes, we got the flyweight bout here between Yuki Ito, 13-5 versus Hiroya Kondo, 8-10-1. This is for flyweight. Hopefully, what I'm hoping for is that this, all these flyweight bouts that we've been having are pretty much auditions for what I'm guessing is going to happen for the 9/24, September 24th, Rizin 44, the other summer blockbuster collaboration mega event. I'm guessing is going to be the kickoff, the quarterfinals of a flyweight Grand Prix. And that means it's got to be a Grand Prix with a one-night Grand Prix final on New Year's Eve, meaning the semifinals and the finals are same night. So we'll get, on Rizin 44, hopefully we'll get the quarterfinals. All we need is 4 flyweight bouts that are quarterfinals and 1 alternate. So I'm hoping that's what's going to be happening. And this could be an audition for that. And, I'm looking for Yuki Ito here to really come out and just put on a show and a showstopper here and say, hey, get me in that Grand Prix. That's what I'm looking for right here.
CJ, are you convinced that there's going to be this big epic Grand Prix in flyweights?
I mean, I feel like it would have been announced already if it was going to happen this year. There's not that many events left. But yeah, with this fight, I think the interesting thing about this fight is what Ito comes from outsiders and Hiroya comes from breaking down.
Yes.
So we kind of have like the old Mikuru's old stomping grounds versus his own promotion going on here. Because
the other thing also, Hiroya is he was part of that thing where the 3 fighters were part of
he's part of the Mikuru like 1-year challenge where like Mikuru pays for like all of his living and training while he trains at Triforce for a year, which hasn't gone well. So
their best fighter just lost. The best fighter, Taisi Nishitani, just lost. He got smoked by
Hiroaki Suzuki.
Yeah. I was like, which Suzuki is this? I was trying to remember which one. But yeah, he got smoked by Suzuki pretty darn quickly. So
literally doing exactly what Mikuru told him to do. He's like, go for the flying knee. Knocked out immediately. But no, so yeah, this kind of has the interesting like outsiders / breaking down angle going into it. Even though Hiroya has like a losing record, he's like a really popular fighter because of his time on Breaking Down. He's got a pretty big social media presence. When I go to deep shows and he's at deep shows and he's on them, he has like a lot of supporters and they usually get up and leave after his fights. So he's got a lot of fans. He's a popular young guy. And Ito, it's kind of like Rizin pitted 2 similar type fighters against each other. It's just Ito's the much more accomplished fighter. He's better striker, better finish rate. So I kind of agree with JayWolf. I think Ito is going to win this because outside of the fight with Ersin Yamamoto, I think Ito's like won 3 fights in Rizin already.
Well, that's a post Itsuki Hirata Ersan. So
I also think that like Rizin thought that they were like giving Ito a layup with that fight, and they didn't realize that like Ersin was back actually training again or something because Ersin Yamamoto absolutely destroyed him. But Ito doesn't have to worry about Hiroya wrestle fucking him. So yeah, he's got that benefit going into this fight as well.
I did see Hiroya at the Deep Show 113. He took on Tomohiro Adanya. And yeah, you're right. He had a lot of people that were like, I guess the Hiroya section, because I guess they all buy tickets for like the same section. So he had like, I think it was a West. I think it may have been Kurikan Hall West, where he had like all of his fans were. But
I will add, I did talk to like Hiroya. It's a bunch of shit, but I will say he is a very tough fighter. I don't think he's ever been knocked out. And so that kind of creates like an interesting potential for like a pretty cool brawl in this fight.
Absolutely.
because they're both pretty sloppy strikers. So we should expect kind of to see them stand and kind of bang in this, unless Ito thinks that Hiroyo's grappling is so bad that even he can like take him down. That's a possibility as well.
The other thing also is that out of the three, Nishitani, I'm forgetting the other guy, but he's not part of this whole thing anymore. He's now trained at Bonsai. And he's actually like, he was the most experienced, yet probably is the worst out of those three fighters, which is funny. 8 and 10.
Well,
I know. Do you think? Well,
Mikuru's a smart guy. I don't think he cares how well Hiroya does, because Hiroya clearly gets like a lot of attention. I think he had a lot of female fans.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel that's pretty popular. I saw like he actually gets an adequate amount of views for, I guess someone of his stature.
Yeah,
do you think that he told Sakaki Bar, listen, I'll go on this card, but you got to put 2 of my guys on? You think it was, or like one of my guys?
Absolutely. Mikuru absolutely made room for his own fighters on this.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to like care about his own fighters. I mean, he doesn't have to, but like Mikuru goes to the deep shows to like help his guys and stuff. He goes to those lower promotions, so he clearly made room for this. Yeah.
Also, not to mention, so he's Yuki. What's he not Yuki though? Hiroya is 8 and 10, and he's only 25. By the way, he's actually even younger than his opponent.
Yeah, but we all know records don't matter in Japan. Like he could have like a record by the end. He'll have a record of like 30 and 60 or something crazy.
Jay Chris, what do you think? What do you think about this flyweight showcase? Who do you think is gonna get their hand raised at the end?
To be honest, I'm sorry if I haven't been paying much attention, but I mean, let's face it, Yuki Ito is just overall, he has the better record compared to Hiroya Kondo, who is 8-10-1. But I think that Yuki Ito, I mean, he might slip up a little bit in trying to cover his ground, so to speak. But I still think that Yuki Ito might win this fight via decision if he can keep his cards right. If he can basically, not try and make too many mistakes against this middle-of-the-road contender.
Here's it. Well, actually, guess what? Does anybody here believe in MMA math?
Anyone No. Here we go.
JayWolf?
Why, what's the MMA math? Let's hear the MMA math here. What's it?
So, as I said, Hiroya took on Adanya, lost to him, but Ito fought Adanya and finished him. So, by that measure of MMA math, Ito must win.
Nice. Hey, also, another thing.
Does that convince?
It is. That's a great.
I like the MMA math that you're using to prove that the fighter with the better record is going to win. It's like it wasn't like some big reveal. It was like it turns out Ito, the guy with a better record, has beaten a fighter that beat so you should.
Well, here's the thing is that the good thing is that at least Hiroya won't have.
Oh, Drew, you still there?
Who, me?
Hey. No,
Drew's reception's all fucked.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen,
I think that's actually. Hey, sorry.
I was about to say we got technical difficulties.
Am I good?
You're good.
Yes, now you're back.
Okay,
now you're
sorry
back.
about that. I was gonna say the good thing is that he doesn't have Mikuru. I'm gonna assume he won't have Mikuru in his corner to fuck him up and like
to yell for the flying knee.
Yeah, so that could be actually an advantage to him by not having Mikuru in his corner. I'll give him that. But we just got some quick comments. Anna says Tofik is the one. Satoshi said that Tofik, because of Tofik, he still receives complaint DMs from Azerbaijani fans for defeating Tofik.
What do you mean?
You heard about that, CJ?
It wasn't even controversial. He like finished him pretty decidedly
in the first round too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was first or right at the start of the second. It was a fantastic, modified flying knee. Flying triangle that got him. Also, hey, real quick before we move on for this Ito Hiroya bout, it's the only other flyweight bout besides the flyweight title fight with Gucci and Shinryu on the Bellator portion. This is the only other remember, that means that since that's the inaugural flyweight championship on the Bellator portion, they have a whole division they need filled out. that's why it's. I mean,
If Bellator's still around, JayWolf.
okay, yeah, obviously Bellator's still around, but still, they need a division.
Does
That's
PFL have a flyweight division?
No, they don't.
Women's,
so that's
I think
why
women's flyweight, but not male.
we're not talking about women's flyweight, Drew. Jesus, we're talking.
We're not. Oh,
this
I
is
thought we
why
were
they're
talking
going
about
to do a
division that
Grand
actually
Prix.
matters. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is why they're going to do a Grand Prix because they want to fill out the flyweight division. And I think this fight between Ito and Hiroya, and Makiru obviously got his boy Hiroya on there because it's a high profile. It's the only other flyweight bout on this blockbuster collaboration mega event here in the summertime.
Blockbuster, yeah, sure. Okay. Jacob Ayers says Jacob Ayers says Mikaru pulling strings like a real promoter. Yeah, definitely gotta give it to him. And also Anna says, thanks to Chris we have opportunities to get to know the fighters' full names. And Jacob Ayers says that Bauer's cutting my stream. If anything, Cokes, it'll be Scott Coker who's cutting my shit. They wouldn't have enough money for that probably. So no, it's not them.
Well, I mean,
do you see an overweight bald man outside your apartment right now?
I'm in New York. I see a lot of overweight bald men in my outside on the streets.
Oh wow! I mean, kind of think of it, Andrew. You do live in a sea of 8 million people.
And 7 million of them are bald and overweight. I'm actually curious to know. I'm just random question. So you do bring up a good point about the Bellator flyweight championship. I mean, CJ, do you see any sort of universe where they have, I don't know, whoever wins, Makoto, Kyoji, that the winner of this fight potentially takes on the winner of that fight? Or am I just, I'm kind of almost thinking like this is how like UFC things, because you know how they'll book like similar weight classes?
I think there's plenty of flyweights in Japan. I think my thoughts on the Bellator adding a flyweight championship is it just seems that Bellator is clearly interested in doing more shows in Japan in the future. And if they have a Japanese champion, which they will, because it's a Japanese fighter versus a Japanese fighter, whenever they come back to Japan for these shows, they can have a Japanese fighter as a title fight and help them sell more tickets.
Or actually,
it's a good point. Yes.
PFL does buy.
I'm very, very glad you're agreeing with everything I said. I'm sorry, your internet connection cut out, so I'm just assuming that you're agreeing with everything I'm saying.
Yes, I am. I am agreeing with everything you said. I'm agreeing with everything you said. But actually, I'm just curious to know, JayWolf, last question before we move on. Do you think this fight kind of like, I mean, other than the fact that it obviously is them helping out Mikaru's guys, do you think this fight almost kind of like, not stands out, but kind of feels like, for such a big show, this show's kind of like, I'm sorry, sorry. Jacob Ayers says Bellator and Kurikan Hall.
They wouldn't be Shinjuku face, please. Shinjuku face.
No, you can't Bellator the Kurikan Hall. No.
Spit out the question. What's the question you want? Quit laughing at Bellator.
Anna's not even laughing at Bellator.
That's hilarious, though.
Imagine, you got a press release one day that says Bellator debut at Kurikan Hall, Kana Watanabe versus Ring Nakai.
Hey, that'd be. What if that's what one championship does with the Takeru fight? It's like Takeru and Kurikan Hall. Due to serious budget cuts.
Anna says Shinjuku face even worse.
Yep.
No. See, Bellator debut at New Pier Hall.
Yeah, I like New Pier Hall. You take that back, son of a bitch.
They get told it's the cheapest venue. They get told the cheapest venue in Tokyo, but they don't realize how far off it is.
It'd be so funny. I would go. I would absolutely go.
Because they just have that one entrance where everybody goes through.
Yeah.
You just see everybody. You see just like Scott Coker going through that entrance, and you see all the fighters. It's just like
I'm just hoping that when I go, Bjorn Rebney's in charge of Bellator again.
Sorry, I was gonna say, JayWolf, do you think this fight kind of like feels like it might get lost in the shuffle because in terms of like the other fights have a little bit more like, you have an Olympic wrestler in one, you have Mikuru in one, two title shots, return Tofik. Do you think this one might get lost in the shuffle as like?
No, like I was saying, it's the only other flyweight bout on the event besides the flyweight title fight for Bellator. They're both companies, the mighty Bellator and the Epic Rizin, they need to fill out their flyweight divisions. That's why I'm telling you, I can feel the flyweight Grand Prix coming. I can't wait. It's going to be for the September 24th, or even in the Landmark 6 event, and in that couple months before the New Year's Eve event, they're going to have the flyweight quarterfinals. They only need 4 fights and an alternate. And I think they're going to build a division like that. So it does not get lost in the shuffle because, again, it's the only other flyweight bout besides a title fight. And that's going to be, the eyes are going to be on that division because of that inaugural flyweight title fight. So
I wouldn't focus on the flyweight. I'd focus on the fact that what's unique about this is like they're the only fighters that kind of come from like Mikuru's past. They're kind of fighters that come from like the street thug organizations, like the Outsider and the Breaking Down.
I'm sure the Japanese broadcast will focus on that kind of cool stuff about how they're breaking down and stuff like that. So
this would be like more of a brawl. Plus, I think they're both pretty popular with the ladies. So I think that they should bring in a different fan base. And Andrew, you're muted. I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. You're also muted again.
And oh no!
Yeah. Wait, move your lips. I'll talk for you. Yes, that's a very good point you make, CJ.
Let me put this louder.
Yes, JayWolf, you're absolutely correct. The Grand Prix is coming next event.
Is that better?
Who do I think is going to be the
we
title
can hear you
fight?
now. Yes, we can hear you.
The next title fight is going to be John Dodson. That's who. Is that what you're asking, Drew? Nice. Okay, there. See, not a yes. Okay.
We can't hear you anymore.
You can't hear me or Drew?
Drew, we need that Simpsons graphic for technical difficulties with like the drunk cameraman.
Due to technical difficulties, please stand by. We will work as soon as things get clear.
And now we're going to get a copyright strike because I can see
Drew.
Boxing going on in the background.
Shit.
How about now? Am I good now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Jacob Fire says Bellator is only going to be broadcasted in the Armed Forces Network in Japan, so all the Japanese fans can go to Misawa Air Base to watch on 20-inch TV in the vessel.
Shit. I really hope we don't
you're
get copyright struck because I was watching boxing in the background.
Well, if it gets copyright struck, I'll blame you, J. Chris. But let's move from flyweight.
Oh yeah, please do
to the dead division of 185.
Yeah,
didn't
Unicorn division.
J. Chris, didn't you interview Fat Ninja?
Yeah, I did interview Fat Ninja, Igor Tanabe. He said he was very excited about the fact that he gets to, compete in Rizin. I mean, even though there's going to be a lot of pressure on him for competing in this promotion, even though after this particular fight against Daichi Abe, he wants to drop down to 170 pounds. He wants to drop down to welterweight, even though he already fought at middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight as both a mixed martial artist and a BJJ black belt.
Do you think he's ready to face the very deep welterweight division in Japan at the moment?
Yeah, you can say it's deep. I mean, you could say it's a deep welterweight division, but I think that when it comes down to talent above 70 kilos, especially in Rizin's definitely going to need to stockpile on foreign talent. I mean, they can do that now because the pandemic is pretty much over. But still, though, as far as this fight goes,
I apologize, Jay. I didn't give you a chance to talk about Ito and Hiroya.
Me?
Sorry, just tell us. Yeah, I don't think I did. I?
He did. He said that he wasn't paying attention. And then
I'm
talked
sorry
about
I wasn't
Ito.
paying attention. I just hope that Yuki Ito beats Hiroya Kondo.
Okay,
otherwise, it's going to be a boring fight. Now,
go ahead.
Now, back to my topic about this. I think that Rizin needs to stockpile on foreign talent not just foreign talent. Find some Japanese talent on these smaller shows, these domestic shows like Heat, like Deep, like Pancrase, Shudo. Get some of these heavier guys that ain't really doing much other than sucking up air and opportunity. And have them fight against these foreign talent, especially in the 170 to 205-pound weight classes. Because still, I did say that Igor Tanabe was the future of Rizin in that interview that I still haven't posted yet. I will post it soon when I get everything completely edited. It may be within the next few days. But if Igor Tanabe wins this fight and there is no future for Rizin up 70 kilos, what's it to say that this is just a one-off?
It's not. There's a future for 107 kilos. Don't even trip, Jake Krish. They'll sign international guys. They like when they do the Azerbaijani show. There's a bunch of guys in those Eastern Euro countries where they're 170 pounds. They could bring in. So they'll fill up the ranks. Don't even trip.
When they do their Azerbaijani shows, they're going to do like a war criminal section where we have people that have committed crimes that can't see man.
Do you say this
about
the
ringside?
UFC? When the UFC's bringing over Dagestani every single other show, do you say this to the UFC every time? I don't think so.
I brought it up. Wasn't there that show in Dubai where the Chechenian guy was actually there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean that dickhead Ramzan Kadyrov?
Yeah, he was at a UFC show. Like, was it the Saudi Arabia or was it the Dubai show?
It was in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay, see, well, if the UFC can do that, then the Epic Rizin can do an Azerbaijani show. So there.
So CJ, I'm gonna have you ruin JayWolf's day. Do you see Rizin going on this, signing a bunch of Eastern European fighters to pack 185 and 170 and 205?
No, more realistically, guys that would be like Tanabe to fight would be like Satoshi's brother. I think he fought at welterweight before.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't book. I thought he was fired.
That'd be interesting though, because they both have the jiu-jitsu background.
Yeah,
and
I think
so that could be kind of fun.
I think he retired after Abe beat him, I believe.
Okay, and Kitaoka's fighting today, like 20 fights post-retirement. So retirement means nothing in Japan.
That's true.
And then we also have Keitaro, who's also a good welterweight, who I think is fully healed. So they have some welterweights that they could fight while they look for people. But
come to think of it, we just talked about Akihiro Gono to start off the show, and he's 48.
Was he lightweight? He was lightweight though, right?
Lightweight and welterweight.
But he's fighting GEEKS, obviously the number one MMA promotion in Japan. So obviously he's not going to take.
Oh dear God! Don't even get me started with that bullshit.
Rising's probably going to spend their time filling the lighter divisions where they're already strong, and maybe getting a couple heavyweights.
You could.
What are you trying to say? This is going to be like Japan's version of the WEC?
Well, Igor could fight Yamanashita. Oh, wait, never mind. Rising has no interest in keeping the welterweights that do well. So I think they're more focused on the lower divisions where there's good Japanese fighters. Because let's be real, like Rising wants a division where they can promote highly skilled Japanese fighters. They don't want a division of 100% foreign fighters.
Of course.
Don't forget, there's a big difference between the Rizin that was like 2015, I'll say, to maybe 2019, like right before the pandemic. There's a big
pandemic, yeah.
No, but like even like near I guess
you mean the first couple of years when Rising was just really throwing money around?
Oh yeah. So like that Rizin is dead and long gone, which sucks because I love that Rise. I just love,
It's not dead and long. It's never dead. No way.
Bring back the tubes. Bring back the entrance tubes.
Yes. And bring back Takada banging on the drum. What's the Japanese song called again? The man
Fumidoshi? The Fumidoshi?
Yes, bring back Takada and the Fumidoshi banging on the drum for the entrance.
I'm wearing mine right now.
CJ, I thought it was called the Makawashi or something like that.
It's called a Fumidoshi. There might be a different.
CJ, you got a question?
Anna could answer the question. She's listening in the chat.
And if you're still here, maybe you can answer that question about what's the name of the drum that they bang.
Not the drum. He's asking about the sumo style underwear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that Takada would wear I don't want to say a diaper, but it looks like a
A
diaper.
Fumidoshi,
man
right? Yeah.
thong. It's a man thong.
Or man thong. Okay. Falling Stars, a question for you, CJ. He wants to know who are Japanese more excited for, Inoue versus Fulton or Super Rizin? I'm actually interested to know myself. What have you heard more talk about?
Not as connected to like the boxing world, but interesting. I think it's kind of different crowds. I think the people that watch MMA don't really watch. I'll go the other way. I think people that watch boxing don't really watch MMA in Japan. Boxing kind of has like this higher image.
So it's kind of like the same here. It's kind of it's like the same.
Well,
if there's any crossover, I imagine more MMA fans watch boxing than boxing fans watch MMA.
I mean, you can basically say that, CJ, because you're gonna have your different crowds. You're gonna have a crowd that wants to see. I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about earlier when it came to the K1 Rebirth thing. You're gonna have your crowds that want to see just kickboxing, and you're gonna have your crowd that want to see just grappling. In this case, I mean, because of the fact that the Inoue Fulton fight is in the middle of the week, you're gonna have your crowd that's gonna turn up to see. Now you Inoue look to see if Cool Boy Stephen Fulton Jr. can actually be a formidable opponent. And then by the end of the week, you're going to have your crowd that's going to see this Bellator Rizin card and think, oh, wait, is this worth watching? Let me give this Bellator thing a try. And if it doesn't work, I got the Superior rule set on lock. So, yeah.
Well, I think Mikado attracts like a much younger fan base. And boxing probably has an older fan base, like a more established, older fan base. So I think they're kind of appealing to different people.
I'm curious to know, what about ticket prices? Because boxing here, ticket prices are insane. People like complain about UFC ticket prices. They're expensive, but boxing prices, I'm trying to remember. I think for Spence Crawford, I think the lowest price for a ticket might be, I think it's like $900. I think.
Crazy.
Nosebleeds, $900.
Yeah, just against that arena in Vegas. T-Mobile, I think it is the T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah,
I think
that's fucking crazy, dude.
$900 total. So
I just quickly Googled the ticket prices for the Inoue fight, and they're really, really expensive.
How much are they in US dollars?
The one I see is it's like close to 1,000.
Okay, is that is a
$5 delivery fee?
Okay, how about compare the Rizin? Compare the Rizin.
Just depends. Just depends where you sit. But let me see.
Oh, what arena are they doing Inoue Fulton again at? Is that Tokyo?
Ariake Arena.
Wow, really? Okay. I figured there'd be a bigger dome, bigger arena that they go to.
That's pretty big. This one sold out.
I think they're only doing it at the Ayake Arena because they basically want to showcase this new arena off because they didn't get a proper chance to do it during COVID.
I see.
Well, oh my God, never mind. I'm looking at the Japanese selling site.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tickets are looking like $2,000, $3,000.
Good God. Like, what's the highest ticket price? 10 grand?
I mean, it looks like there's also some tickets for around like $300.
Oh, that's more like it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's probably $700. It's probably comparable to the Rising show, to be honest, because the Super Rising show is super expensive. I just think that this boxing one gets more expensive.
Isn't this the second time? Or remember they were supposed to have the fight the first time, but it got canceled as well? I think.
I think you were talking about the Triple G Murata fight.
That was it. Okay, I'm sorry. That's what I was. No, well, didn't someone wasn't Inoue supposed to fight somebody, but then they missed weight because they had like mental health issues? Was that Fulton?
No, it wasn't.
Who am I thinking of then? That wasn't Murata. No, this is no. This is recent. This is very recent.
No, it was postponed due to an injury. This Fulton fight.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, before we move on, do y'all have any?
That was back in March, I think.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
it was back in March. But do y'all have any predictions on this fight before we move on?
CJ, start with you.
I'm gonna say that
And I
Fat
mean,
Ninja.
keep in mind, Daichi Abe is a former UFC and ONE FC competitor that downed one championship, and
But
Igor Tanabe is a BJJ black belt.
I will also add that Daichi Abe's record in the UFC looks like my record would be in the UFC as well. Those are results that I could have achieved with my current skill set. So I am going to say that I think Fat Ninja will get the submission win.
Via
JayWolf?
first round submission?
I think it'll be quick. Yes.
JayWolf?
I'm picking Fat Ninja as well because he had an interview with Jay Krish. That's going to give him the power to get the victory.
Okay, I mean that's pushing it a little too deep there. I mean,
He's got that Jay Chris rub.
I haven't even posted the damn interview yet, and you're already giving me the rub. But Andrew, what say you? You got the BJJ black belt against the two major promotion MMA veteran. Who you got?
Well, he's not just a BJJ black belt. He is one of the best jiu-jitsu heavier weight jiu-jitsu guys in Japan. And you got I'm talking about a guy. He's also been on Quintet as well. I don't think he ever did any of the team stuff though. I think he's only been part of the super fights. But yeah, his BJJ is got. I would put him on the same level as Satoshi, but obviously different weight class. I mean, here's the thing. I'll give us about Daichi Abe is that he hits hard. If he hits you, fucking hurts. If Fat Ninja cannot let that happen, then I could definitely see it being an easy win for him. The other thing also is that Daichi Abe has a loss against Akira, and that's something I can't really forgive. So by that process of elimination, I am going with Fat Ninja to sub him in the first.
I guess we're pretty much unanimous. We're all saying that Igor's going to win, and three of us are saying that Igor's going to win via first round submission because if you think about it, his last fight was against Melvin No Mercy Manoff. I'm talking about Tanabe. I think this fight may be still a big test, but it's still a step up in competition.
Was that post-home invasion Manhoof or pre-home invasion Manhoof?
Post-home invasion.
Okay.
It was back on December 28th.
I'll just quickly say, but you gotta also remember that that Melvin Manhoof probably has some of the worst grappling events in the history of MMA.
How dare you? He knocked out Mark Hunt. He's a national treasure.
Okay. So we're all in agreement. Submission first round, Fat Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that Daichi Abe is going to win by split decision. That's what's going to happen.
No, that ain't happening.
Also, just keep
Igor's
in mind
got 2 first round submission victories. Ain't no way that's gonna happen.
The other thing also is that Abe, he's going up in weight as well. He's going to 185 for this, or whatever the 180 thing that they're doing.
185 pounds or 84 kilograms.
So he's going up as opposed. So he lost when he went down to 170 to 155. So I have to then think that if he goes up, the same thing's going to happen as well. But
the same thing might happen, but he's going to get his ass whooped worse than that.
And we're going to go back from down to up to down, and we got
basically we're going down 50 pounds to the bantamweight division for this one.
And we got Kenta Takizawa taking on Shinobu Ota. So CJ, is this them trying to give Ota potentially an easy win because they realize that we shouldn't have given you Hideo Tokoro as your first fight?
Oh no, they don't care about that. I mean, I feel like they made a career of having Tokoro just ruin prospects in their pro debuts. But it's kind of a interesting fight because I feel like Takizawa always wins the fights that he's supposed to lose because he does have kind of crazy knockout power. But yeah, it's kind of hard to. I feel like Takizawa is training at his own gym now, and everything on paper says that Ota should win. So I'm kind of expecting there to be like a crazy Takizawa knockout, like when he knocked out Matoya.
But also, I mean, I have to bring this up. Ota had that crazy knockout uppercut on Kazuma Kuramoto. One of the most like unexpected knockouts, like, and probably in Rizin history.
I feel like it's kind of like the Khabib uppercut, where people were so worried about the grappling, they kind of like forgot that the person could punch as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I don't know if that was because Kuramoto's chin is gone from all the wars he's been in, but you still gotta give credit to him for like that type of knockouts.
But if we are going with your MMA math argument, Takizawa beat Matoya. Matoya made Ota look boring because that's what Matoya does.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. See? Yeah.
Also, Takizawa, so he's also has the ability to weather the storm. Because remember, I think it was
literally run away.
Well, he runs away when someone's trying to break his ankle.
Rip his leg off.
Yeah. I'll give him credit for remember the Kai fights, the Kai Azakura fight. He got his jaw broken, and he still continued that fight to the very end.
Like an absolute beating, yeah.
Yeah, was it his jaw that got broken? Yeah, it was his jaw that got broken, I believe. And,
right.
Yeah.
If Kai's hand was made of anything besides fiberglass, it would have knocked him out.
I love the name that Jay. What do you call him now, Jay?
Who? Which one?
Kai. Yeah.
Kai Glassakura.
I love that.
He made of glass. That's so we talk trash on like the Lakers center Anthony Davis because he gets hurt all the time. Say he's made of glass. That's what we're talking about now. That's where Kai has entered that territory where he's going to get made fun of acting like he's made of glass because that's ridiculous that he got injured 2 weeks before. Thank goodness for Hiro Masa being the hero and stepping up on late notice against a killer like Juan Archuleta. But
is Kai going to start dressing up like Samuel L. Jackson and Unbreakable, start calling himself Mr. Glass and like really lean into it?
Yeah, he's about to lose his status as Azakura Action Bro. It's just about to be one bro now instead of Azakura Action Bros. Now it's just Mikuru is an Azakura Action Bro. Now it's Kai is Kai Glass.
Which is funny because Mikuru is nowhere near Action Bro anymore. I would say a Kai at least.
Oh, come on.
No, Kai is clearly the more Kai. I agree with Andrew 100% on this take.
No, he's got to earn it back now. He's got to make it back to the ring healthy, and he's got to earn it back. He's got to earn the Action Bro title back. And he wants to be an Azakura Action Bro. Got to make it back to the ring and earn it back because right now he's Kai Glassakura.
I will say I do agree with JayWolf because JayWolf said Kai's got to make it back to the ring and earn his title back. And I do agree that Rising belongs in a ring. The ring is the superior fighting platform. And JayWolf started to make a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
With the ring restarts there, CJ.
Hey, I love the restarts. It's my favorite part.
Let's get back to the Shinobu Ota fight. We didn't.
Yes, JayWolf. Hold on one second. I want to just finish with CJ. CJ, who do you think is going to win this fight?
My mind says Ota should. Ota is not even the same like level of human specimen that Takizawa is, like physically. He is an Olympic level athlete who does crazy flips. He trains at a much better gym. I think he trains at Palestra with like Ogikubo and people like that. And he showed in his last fight, he has knockout power as well. And Takizawa struggled with grapplers in the past. That being said, Takizawa does have that knockout chance of winning this fight. So Ota does have to be careful. Because I think Ota kind of was almost in trouble in the Kubo fight briefly at the beginning as well. So Takizawa does have a chance, but I would pick Ota to win this if I had to.
JayWolf, your turn, sir.
Yes. I'm looking forward to this. Like CJ is saying, Ota is a Olympic silver medalist at wrestling. Okay, that is incredible.
A friend of mine always likes to say, if you won silver, you still lost. So
yeah, okay. And at the Olympic level, I don't think so. Anything on the podium is a win. Anything in the top 10 is a win at the Olympic level. It's absolutely crazy, the athletic. Anyways, Ota, plus also on the Rizin English Twitter. I don't know if you guys have seen the Epic Rizin English Twitter. They just put out a highlight with Ota today. It was either today or yesterday. And Ota's have a fantastic superior rule set finish a TKO where he had, I'm talking grounded knees, soccer kicks, and finished up with some stomps on the highlight. Just a fantastic superior rule set highlight. Had all the great pride rules that we love in it. And that was check out the Epic Rizin English Twitter account and scroll down and find that highlight. I retweeted on my timeline, but it's a fantastic highlight. And so it just shows you that
I'm just going to clarify that was against Kazuma Sone, not the highest level of
well, okay, still it shows that it shows that he has he's acclimated to the superior rule set and he knows how to utilize it. Ota knows the assignment. That's the thing. See, we got to find out who on the Super Rizin card knows the assignment. And what's the assignment? We want to see pride rules. We want to see 12-6 elbows. We want to see suplex slams, grounded up kicks, everything on the superior rule set. That's what the assignment is. And Ota knows the assignment. So I'm looking forward to this. And I think this is a significant step up in competition for him because Takizawa is 13-9. So he's got a significant experience over Ota. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Gotcha. Jay Chris, with all that being said, Oda's second place in the Olympics, Kenta Takizawa's punching power, and also much taller than Ota, much longer reach that he knows how to use. What do you think?
I mean,
Ota can still
kind of
win
think
this?
of it, you're not wrong about saying second place in the Olympics, but the dude still won something. Ota still is, an Olympic medalist. That's something that only about a good chunk of the people in the world, no matter what sport or what occupation you have, can't say that, you're an Olympic medalist. But in the case of Shinobu Ota, he's 3-2 overall as a mixed martial artist. I really think he has his work cut out for him in this fight against Kenta Takizawa, who was a top-ranked competitor in pound place. But still, though, I think this fight is going to be too close to call. I mean, even though a lot of people are basically going to say Takizawa via submission or Takizawa via decision, I'm pretty much hung even on this one, even though the Tapology fight predictions are basically saying Ota is going to win this fight 67% to 33%, which, of course, as usual, they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. But still, though, I think that this fight is going to be so closely contested that I really don't have a pick for this one.
I mean, just depends which Ota shows up. Like if Ota is smart and uses his wrestling early on and doesn't play the wrestling game, I mean, he's absolutely going to smash Takizawa on the ground.
So that's the thing. I don't see him. Listen, if he has to, the way he wins is by playing this fight safe. I think he has to, do the exact of that. He has to, beat that the Matoya fight type of he won that, right? Am I remembering that he won that, or did he lose that?
Ota
did Ota
Matoya beat Ota.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Kubo. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Kubo fight. That's kind of what he has to do in that match. He has to Matoya him, I guess you could say. So yeah, but here's the thing, if Takizawa, so listen, but if Takizawa just keeps it on the feet somehow, I think he's gonna win handily. No, I might be the odd man out, but I think Takizawa's gonna win this.
Didn't Naoki take Takizawa down pretty easily though throughout the fight?
He did, but Naoki also knew how to move into other positions,
maneuver the grappling and all that. I mean, maneuver the striking.
That's the other thing as well. So I don't know about how the judging is going to be. So are they going to bring? CJ? Have you heard about them bringing in those judges from overseas? Are they going to be bringing for the?
No.
Are they doing JMOC? Sorry, go ahead.
I would assume for the rising portion, it's just going to be the normal rising scoring.
Okay.
Because I think they're kind of treating it like two separate events, right?
Okay, gotcha. Because I'm wondering, because if Ota kind of just like holds him down and doesn't really do anything, and Takizawa is able to get up, Ota still might lose by
Hey, look at those generalship points.
Generalship, the
most important points.
Well, that's the thing. If we're going to go by what they write on the score, how they judge, if Takizawa can even just get 10 leg kicks in, 5 punches in, more and like make it look like it hurt, then he'll still win on the by damage, if I'm correct, right? Or is damage
I mean,
like
he's got a knockout. He's got a chance to knock him out. I just don't like the fact that Takizawa's like training at his own gym now, and Ota's
that's
like
always
training with.
that's always sus whenever someone
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I'm training at my own gym." And
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
like
yeah.
it's
I
like
don't know how I feel about
Minwa
that.
Minwa Man's training out in the rivers and the forest or whatever it was, and it's like
Like,
I don't know
is
if that worked
Takizawa
against
like, is he like doing his best Kramer impression and training with a bunch of kids in a karate class? Like, I want to know what his training actually looks like. So,
that's funny. But I mean, so yeah, this fight, I think CJ said it best. Depends on which Oda shows up, but I think he's gonna probably play this fight pretty safe. Now the great thing is that after this, or whatever is the last fight, we're gonna get 3 beautiful title matches, and I would like to throw the first one to you, CJ, with Claire Lopez and Seika Izawa. In this fight, and what do you think? I mean, based on how Claire Lopez did, and Seika Izawa saying that she wanted a real fight after she destroyed Amp the Rocket. Do you think Claire can be that real fight by any chance?
So I actually had a chance to speak to Seika ahead of this fight, and I watched a couple of Claire Lopez's interviews, and there's kind of a common theme throughout them, where Claire Lopez thinks that Seika Izawa's striking is awful, and Claire Lopez is looking to strike and try to knock Seika out. And when asked about it, Seika says that Claire Lopez is a striker with good power, so she thinks that Claire Lopez is going to try to knock her out. So I think that everyone is aware of what Claire Lopez is trying to do. She's going to try to knock Seika out, but Seika is clearly going to try to grapple with her. And so that's the issue, because Seika Izawa striking is not nearly as good as her grappling. She's taken damage in fights before. Her last fight, especially with Park, looked like it could have been stopped briefly for a second. And in the other Park fight, I mean, that kick isn't why her face swelled shut. I mean, she ate a lot of punches from Park, and her eyes essentially swelled shut in the first fight. So, and I also noticed that when Izawa fights recently, I feel like she has this pressure to finish like immediately. She tries to like force the submission and force the takedown. If you remember in the Park fight, she like jumped for a guillotine choke and essentially was up there for minutes, kind of draining her legs and everything. So I feel like she's almost trying to force things and not letting them happen naturally. That being said, she's a very high level grappler. And if she gets the fight to the ground, it will be interesting to see what happens. Claire Lopez isn't the biggest opponent she's faced, so that shouldn't be an issue. Seika said that she saw the submission she did to Rena. I mean, while kind of flashy, that would never work on someone that knows what they're doing. So on ground, so she's not
Also,
intimidated by.
If you want to be technical as well, if there's no cage to keep your foot on, to keep your toe on. But just saying.
Oh.
But
Seika does have a lot going on, though. I mean, Seika got married this year. She opened her own gym like last week. She graduated from school. So she's got a lot going on in her life. But when I asked her about it, she said she feels no pressure going into this fight, that Claire Lopez is just the opponent of the week. And nothing special about this. She's fought on big cards before. She fought on the other Super Rising show. She fought on the New Year's Eve show, so she's more than used to this kind of pressure. But it's just kind of like the last fight. If Seika Izawa gets the fight to the ground, she has a very good chance of getting a finish. But Claire Lopez hits pretty hard. I think she actually kind of outstruck Rena a little bit in the beginning of their fight and hit Rena with some big shots.
She had Rena rocked. Remember, she had Rena like fall against the cage.
Yeah, she hit her pretty well.
She didn't rock her with striking. She rocked her with superior rule set strikes, defending armbar with the best armbar defense.
Wait, no, Jay.
No. Early in the first round, she like rocked Rena with some strikes as well.
Yeah, in the very first round, like it was like the first minute, I believe, in the striking exchange.
It wasn't until Claire like got tired that Rena started like taking over the stand-up striking.
Yeah.
So
Reina
that's another
was
point.
winning
Claire
strike.
Lopez's stamina didn't look great in the Rena fight. And if Rena had like a little more in the gas tank, I think she could have done a lot of damage in that last round. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Is Claire Lopez kind of older, right? How old is she?
I think she's in her 30s. She's got to be like 35. No, not 35,
Yeah.
32, 33. She's also a mother.
Yeah.
She's flying in from France. I don't know if she's flying in early or she's flying
Well,
like
she
3 or
trains
4
in the
weeks.
UK. I think she trains in the UK, right? She trains
Sorry,
with
I'm
Brad
sorry. Yeah, the
Pickett.
UK. Yeah.
Trains with Brad Pickett.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, it's hard to tell because they don't really have that many. They don't have any common opponents. But as it goes to the ground,
No minute and a
Seika's-
half here. There's no
yeah,
minute.
Seika's
MMA
clearly the
match.
better grappler, and Claire Lopez is a power puncher, but she does look like she tires as the fights go on. So Claire's told in the interview, the person she was interviewing, she's going to come forward very aggressively, like immediately. So I think if Claire gets a finish, it'll probably be in the first round.
Question as well for
Well,
CJ.
come to think of it, I think I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that for Seika Izawa because I think that Seika's kind of overestimating Claire a little bit here, especially considering the fact that in her last fight, she did ended up getting a knee bar submission of Reina Kubota in a fight that she was clearly I mean, I wouldn't say that Claire was clearly losing the fight. I mean, of course, she did have her moments, but still, though, she did submit Reina Kubota with that knee bar. If Claire can do that to Reina, I can't imagine what she'll do to Seika Izawa, even though Seika's coming in as the heavy favorite.
Well, I agree with CJ.
No. I mean,
that move, that Seika is right. Here's the thing. I've learned about like catch wrestling stuff. Catch wrestling stuff is great when you're 250 pounds like Josh Barnett, or you know what the fuck you're doing. Those are the only two that why you never see catch wrestling stuff ever, like, or very rarely in like high level BJJ tournaments or ADCC or even in MMA. It's very rare because that stuff just doesn't simply work unless you are like a heavyweight fighter like Josh Barnett. Josh Barnett cranks your neck from any position, you're tapping out. You know,
true.
If you're, I don't know, Crone Gracie, 145 pounds, no, it's not going to work. Why it worked because Reina didn't know the defense and also maybe Cage helped, who knows, but barring that, what
it did.
Okay,
it did, yeah.
But even if there's no Cage, listen, it is very easier to escape that stuff in MMA than it is. That's the reason why you don't see that often. It's still a great submission, but for like 9.8 times out of 10, it doesn't work. So he's always right about that when she told that to CJ. But I mean, the other thing I'll also say, ask you CJ as well before we move on to you, JayWolf, is that, do you think that this would have been Reina had Reina won? Would have been Reina versus Izawa?
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is that Izawa was like scheduled to fight Miyu Yamamoto, which would be a big fight for Miyu's retirement fight. And then that kind of got pushed off to New Year's, I believe. And Seika made it very clear that like, I don't want to wait till New Year's. I want to have, she told me after this fight, she wants to fight again before the Miyu fight. And so she doesn't want to wait around and wait for that fight. And Claire I wish if I was the matchmaker, I would have liked to have seen them build up Claire Lopez a little more. Maybe give her like another fighter, help
a little bit of
build her
a
name
little
in
bit of
Japan.
dirt. A little bit of dirt. I heard that the original opponent for Claire was supposed to be Kana. Now,
are you sure about that?
Is Kana even training?
I don't. Kana Azakura, just to be clear. But I guess after Deep Jewels and her saying she wanted to fight again, with Claire Lopez getting the win, and then Reina being injured as well, there was really nobody else for her to fight and defend the title against. So that's my assumption for how this.
Wait, are you saying that Seika's? So I'm confused. Are you saying that Claire Lopez was supposed to fight Kana Asakura, but since they couldn't find anyone for Izawa to fight, they just kind of pushed?
That's my assumption. That's not what I heard or was told, but I know that. But Claire was supposed to fight Kana.
So that makes more sense to me because I feel like that's a fight that Claire could win, and if she did, it would kind of make her just give her the more recognition she deserved as a title
Also,
challenger.
it's a fight that Kana could also win, and then you have kind of like a two generation of
creates like a good
heavyweights.
title challenger. But they have this situation where they've barely had any super atomweight fights this year. I think this fight included, there's been 3 or 4. There's barely been any women's super atomweight fights this year. And so they at least have to keep the champion active. And so if Seika's available to fight, you kind of have to put her on this card.
Normally, actually you bring up a good point, CJ. Normally this type of fight would be non-title a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's true.
Yeah, so that's my assumption is that that to me is how this whole thing came together. They expected Reina to win. Reina was not injured. They were going to have Reina versus Izawa on a big show like this. Makes sense because of the fight that everybody wanted. Either on this show or a show down the line, they were going to have Kana versus Claire, and then Reina's injured. Well, Claire wins. Reina's injured. What do we do?
Well, you can also kind of be honest with like how Rizin treats some of the foreign fighters. And it's kind of like, oh, you got to win in Rizin. They got a little bit of name recognition. Let's put them against the champion, watch them get smashed, and never bring them back again. So maybe this is
at least the compelling thing with this is that the way that Claire won, and especially because it was supposed to be clear Reina was supposed to get a win with this, and that did not happen. So this fight is more intriguing. I would still like to see Reina versus Izawa at some point, but this fight does have me really intrigued. And I'm gonna ask JayWolf.
Before you separate, the intriguing part of this, it just came to me, is that this is the kind of fight that I like, where you have like a specialist fighting someone. And so it's kind of like the Damian Maya situation with Seiki Izawa. It's like, what happens if she doesn't get it to the ground? What type of fight does this become? And if it gets to the ground, it becomes a very different fight. So it's one of those like specialist matchups.
Yeah. Hold on the ground. So that's where it's interesting, because all the other opponents that oops, I'm on. Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, because all the other opponents that Izawa has fought they've not been specialists on the ground at all. They've been all dominated on the ground. But the thing about Claire, and I think the difference between Claire and Park striking, is that Claire actually has power behind her thing. Not that she has a different type of power than Park. Park has more volume, I would say. Would you agree with that?
I've always described Park as having TKO power.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see.
But Claire Lopez clearly hits hard, and I mean, she's talking about it. Izawa's talking about it. She rocked Reina, so she clearly hits hard. I think the interesting thing in that last fight, though, was more the stamina.
Oh yeah. But JayWolf, sorry to keep you waiting. I know you're the president of Hot Girl Fighters fan club. What do you think about this fight?
Oh, I absolutely love it. This is actually my fight of the night, or one of my fight of the nights. I mean, now that Kai Glasakura got hurt, and now that's a replacement, Hiromasa stepping up like a hero to keep Juan Archuleta on the card. This has become my collaboration super fight of the night here, because again, Claire Lopez is coming over from Combate Global, had a sensational performance against Reina, even though everybody wanted Reina to win, because Reina's like the epitome of a hot girl fighter, just absolutely beautiful and incredible striking, everything. And Claire Lopez went in there, it's a sensational performance. It shows she knows the assignment, had this absolutely fantastic superior rule set striking in there for a foreign fighter coming in there, showing excellent acclamation to the superior rule set. And then, of course, she gassed a little bit. Reina was mount a clear comeback, and if she didn't get the finish, she would have lost that. But still, she got the nice, excellent finish. I don't care if she, clipped her toe in the ring a little bit. In the cage a little bit to help give her some leverage. She still got the submission finish over a superstar like Reina. That catapulted her into this title shot against literally a budding superstar flower. That's what her nickname is, Starflower. But to me, she's a budding superstar flower. I mean, Seiki Izawa is an amazing fighter, and I'm just incredibly excited for this one. And this is at the atomweight division. Combate Global and Invicta Fighting Championships, the all-female promotion. they're the ones that have these lighter weight divisions with the women fighters like this. And I don't agree with you guys saying that if Claire Lopez loses here to the champion, that she's not going to be brought back. They have a very good relationship, and they do collaboration with the Combate Global and Invicta. They have been sending over girls and fighters.
That's true. I mean, Kia Batara and is set to fight soon. And
yes,
so is Andy
Jay,
Nguyen and the other Combate Global fighters.
Yeah, I do take a little bit issue when you say like, oh, these things. I don't think these fighters are exclusive to Combate Global. This isn't like Bellator or God forbid UFC where you give precedence to them because they're the bigger promotions. Combate Global, come on.
Combate Global is a pretty big promotion. They're getting almost 1 million viewers average on Univision. I don't care if it's Spanish viewers or not. That's still an impressive number. I don't care if they're getting a lead in from the soccer games or football games, whatever you want to call them, or not. I know that's a good lead in, but still to get that big a number at the late time that they're airing, that's really impressive. And those fighters, I'm telling you, it's just collaborate. And Claire Lopez showing that she knows the assignment already. It's just, I'm telling you guys, it's just really exciting. I'm really looking forward to this, and I think the collaboration is going to continue. They're going to continue to send fighters over because, like I said, Combate Global. That's I consider that a big one of the big stages just because of the ratings that they get. I know they're in a small arena that has it's like the UFC Apex shed type of
TV
situation.
studio.
I think Shinjuku Face is bigger than Combate Global.
If they're getting 1 million views, does that mean they're getting like significantly more views than Bellator?
Yes, and PFL, and one championship. Combate Global, they're getting excellent ratings on the Spanish channels. Okay, and so I don't.
Is that why nobody who speaks English talked about the show? Because
no, they're also on Paramount Plus in English.
That's because of their really active Twitter account.
Oh, okay, I got you. JayWolf, I have Paramount Plus, and I have not seen any advertisements for Combate Global.
Well, I'm telling you, they're on there. They're on there. They do a show in English, and it's a long show, and they've been mentioning Combate Global. And remember, they also Combate Global had a show a month or two ago where it was a USA or Mexico versus Japan or USA versus Japan. It was
Mexico versus Japan. That show was awesome.
Mexico. Okay, yes. So it was Mexico versus Japan and Combate Global, and it was like very split. It was like 3-2 or something like that, or 2-3, something
2-1.
like that. Okay, well, they also on that broadcast brought up this collaboration super fight with Claire Lopez and Sika Superstar Flower Izawa. They brought it up, and they're saying that will continue the competition, the Japan versus Mexico.
So you're saying that they've done better promotion for this show than Bellator has actually done, and Bellator's on the marquee.
Yes, and as far as mentioning it on air, yes,
wow,
they have been mentioning
what
on
a shit promotion Bellator is. Then what a shit promotion.
No,
that's bad.
They're saying it's just because they've had more shows than Bellator. Bellator also mentioned it. They just didn't mention the Super Rizin portion. Combate Global mentioned the Super Rizin portion. They didn't mention the Bellator portion. They only mentioned
the Rizin portion where two of their fighters are fighting. Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Well, Bellator also has some fighters fighting on the Super Rizin portion, so they should have said something. And Juan Archuleta even tweeted about it. And so, look. Anyways, Combate Global they on their show. They've been having a weekly show, and almost on every single one of them, and starting with that USA, the Mexico versus Japan show that we're talking about, they've been bringing it up almost every single show, talking about this collaboration super fight in the Epic Rizin. And they say Rizin correctly. Only a couple of times they said Rizin. They've been saying Rizin correctly, and it's just, one time it was so much fun. I even tweeted about it, how great it was to hear them talking about it, hyping it up and everything. It's just great to see. I'm telling you guys.
Well, okay. Sorry, Jay. I'm gonna have to ask you your prediction.
Before we go to a different one, I wanted to find out because
no, your prediction.
Oh, Sika Superstar Flower Izawa. Are you kidding me? I mean, even though Claire Lopez knows the assignment and she's coming.
Whenever you say that, I'm just thinking about the game Hitman. You know the game Hitman with Codename 47?
I love that game. It's my favorite franchise.
That's what I always think of, like 47. You know the I don't know where you get these. I don't know how you come up with these things, JayWolf. I'm so.
You're so frozen
I'm
with
like impressed that you just slogans. I can.
You broke him,
barely
JayWolf. You broke him.
I can barely think of how to write headlines when I write articles for MMA Sucker. You come up with all these things. They know the assignment, superior rule set. How do you? I don't know. I gotta ask you, well, how do you come up with all this stuff?
So I'm a creator. I create. I'm excellent with.
You write.
You can see some of my synopsis for movies.
Well,
I gotta.
On the contrary, if it wasn't
JayWolf has a
movies-
very active
God damn it.
food review blog. Yelp,
I'm great
very
at that
active Yelp
word.
account.
What's
Sorry,
the
Chris,
word
but
game?
still,
What's the word
though.
game? Scrabble? I'm a Scrabble champion.
But
Jake,
still,
what do
though,
you-
I think I have to take credit for the superior rules set thing even taking off. Well, myself and JayWolf, because if it wasn't for us saying it, Rizin wouldn't be putting it out on their English account, right?
Yeah, and also I want to give credit to everybody. It wouldn't even be a thing without y'all. It wouldn't be a thing without the Rizin tweeting about it. Wouldn't be a thing without the GOAT Twitter. One of the GOAT Twitter accounts, Kaposa, Garaka Hitman, he said superior rule set, says it all the time. Now, I mean, even from our Epic Rizin Discord, Daniel Zubicki, on when he's does commentary for some of the Polish shows like WOTOR and stuff, he says the superior rule set. Without you guys, it wouldn't be mainstream. You guys are what makes it cool is that when you guys talk about it as well. So it's not just one person like me making it up. It's you guys that make it cool.
Speaking of cool, Chris, your thoughts on this fight? Who knows the assignment? Who's gonna get the assignment?
Well, it would have to be the 34-year-old mom fighter from London, England, by way of Nice, France. It would have to be Claire Lopez. I would hope that considering the fact that she upset Reina Kubota, and many people thought that she was not going to win that fight, especially on the scorecards, which is why she ended up getting that leg lock submission. That submission victory pretty much from Mount, I think. I mean, who's to say that she can't do the same thing to a prone Seika Izawa? I mean, who's to say that she can't ruin Seika's future plans of wanting to fight Miyu Yamamoto at the end of the year? But then again, you have to realize Izawa's coming in undefeated. Izawa's the overwhelming favorite. Izawa is basically, underestimating Claire Lopez for the reason that she basically is a 2-belt champion in both Deep Jewels and Rizin. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think we're going to see Claire Lopez get a submission victory in the same way that she ended up getting a submission victory over Reina Kubota via 3rd round submission. Oh, and just the extra caveat, France has not had a major women's MMA world champion. If Claire Lopez does this, she could be the first to do that. No, she could be the history maker, in addition to, of course, the upset maker. So, I'm putting all, even though I'm not a betting man, I'm putting all my chips on the table for Claire Lopez 3rd round submission victory to become the new Rizin Women's Super Atomweight World Champion. If not, then I guess it's all going to be downhill from there.
I feel like I have to add that I'm not saying Claire Lopez can't submit Seika Izawa, but saying that because she submitted Rena means that she can submit Seika Izawa is like an insane statement.
Who said that? No one said that.
Seika Izawa's
I think it's
grappling.
more
I mean, Rena's grappling is awful.
Well,
Who said that, CJ? No one said that.
Chris would have said, like, if she can submit Rena, then she can submit Seika.
No, I think
how
the Reina win propelled her into the Seika Izawa title.
I'll say this. I think Chris is trying. Well, I'm sorry, I speak for you, Jay, and you correct me wrong. But are you saying the way she submitted Reina gives you confidence she can submit Izawa? You don't mean the same way, but like can potentially submit her like
I
some
think-
way during the match.
Because I think Renna clearly had no idea what was happening until it was way too late.
Yes.
And
I
just don't think
could
that's
tell
gonna-
I could tell someone how to defend that type of knee bar in less than a minute, and you can immediately learn how without even the cage helping her. It's very easy to defend. It's so damn easy. That's why.
What do you do?
Like
You turn or what? You just got to turn your
you
leg.
just turn the
or something?
knee. You just turn your knee. Just turn your knee to.
There's nothing like holding your leg in that position. You can just like adjust your leg.
Yeah, you just yeah. You just turn your knee, and then if I remember, so she was mounted on her, and then you just you have to just push up, or you just push up on her. You just push up from bottom. And that elevates her. You can't submit somebody while you're on top of them. That way it was a knee bar that way. So yeah, Lena just didn't know what she was getting into, and fair play to Lopez.
No, I'm not trying to undersell the submission. It was awesome, but I'm just saying that seems like something that you catch someone with that they don't know what's happening, kind of like a twister.
Yeah.
Well, look,
I don't even say
Reina's not exactly. She's a striker. We call her a striker queen for a reason, because she's a striker first, and an actually beautiful striker at that. I mean, I'm not just talking about her looks, but her actual.
She's actually a
style.
standing Vale Tudo fighter from shootboxing. But
No, she's incredible. So I don't hold against that. She's not like a black belt on grappling. She's still obviously Claire Lopez got her with the fantastic. And I do think that was a submission of the year candidate. Absolutely, 100% submission of the year candidate. 100%. I don't care if she used the toe in the cage for a little bit of leverage or not. That's like saying that we couldn't say Kinoshita's stomp was a knockout of the year candidate because he grabbed the cage a little bit. All how Wanderlei.
Well, I'm sorry, Jay. That was a rule of DQ, so I don't know what you're talking about. I remember that fight being ended because his opponent was clearly hitting Kinoshita's foot, and the ref stopped the fight because Kinoshita's foot was taking way too much damage. That's what I remember. Anyway, I'm gonna be the odd man out here. I think Claire Lopez is gonna win this. I legitimately think that she's gonna be
didn't Jay Chris say the same thing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but I don't think it'll be by submission that way. I don't think it'll be. I think she can legitimately knock out Izawa.
No, I see that. I think she has a chance. I think she could knock her out.
Yeah,
and if she does it, I think it'll be early on in the fight.
And if there, I would definitely say Izawa is definitely much better on the ground than Lopez. But Lopez, I think she's only been submitted once or twice. And it's not by let's see. Oh yeah, Danny McCormick beat her. I don't know if she's a Bellator veteran, and Lanchana Green. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 times she's been submitted. Lanchana Green's probably like the most famous opponent that she's lost to. But I just don't see here's the thing about Izawa. Izawa, like you said, but also here's the other thing as well I've noticed about Izawa is that if she can still hold on, she a lot of her fights, if she doesn't get that submission in the first round, she sometimes seems to coast. You know what I'm talking about, CJ. Particularly in the park fights.
I think she's just trying to force positions, like when she tries to go for the guillotines or the back chokes while standing.
Yeah,
it'd almost be better if she kind of abandoned those positions and went for a takedown.
Yeah,
instead of just waiting riding a backpack, doing her best Yoda impression.
Oh yeah, but I don't think that Claire Lopez is gonna be able. I think Claire Lopez won't fall into such things. I mean, she fights this fight smart. Her goal is to keep it on the ground and keep it on. Not on the ground, standing, and that's how she wins. I really do think that Claire Lopez has the highest chance to beat Izawa.
It's good. It's a good stylistic matchup because she has knockout power, which is kind of what you need to beat her, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I think that Claire Lopez will knock her out by the second round.
Gotta do it early. She's gonna do it because remember that gas tank is in question. And also, I wanted to bring this up while we're talking about the gas tank as well, because if you notice from the Rizin English Twitter account talking about the 3 title fights that are on his card. I don't know if you saw, but on the Mikuru and Vugar Karamov one, they said it was a 5-round title fight, which is a change. As you guys know, this would be the first time. So is also this Claire Lopez and Sika Superstar Flower Izawa going to be a 5-round title fight as well? And if it goes into those championship rounds,
Wait, is this
Claire
gonna be
Lopez
this gonna be five? Is this definitely
I
going
don't
to
know.
be
I'm
five?
asking. I'm
Wait
asking.
a minute. Are you saying that all 3 title fights on the Rizin portion are going to be 5-minute rounds?
I do not know. I'm just asking because I saw
Oh, okay, sorry.
on the Rise in English Twitter account when it was talking about Mikuru Azakura versus Buga Karamov, that title fight, they said 5 rounds on that tweet. That is going to be 5 rounds. So I'm assuming that the title fights are all 5 rounds, and that's why there's only 7 bouts.
The Juan Archuleta fight is 3 rounds.
That's because that was injury, but it was going to be
The
5.
Mikuru fight on the Rising website is labeled at 3 rounds.
Well, I'm telling you,
the website is not exactly the best. I'll say that. So JayWolf, you could be right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's on their Twitter account, on the English Twitter account. It says talking about where it was it was a thread. It was a breakdown thread where it was talking about the entire match of Mikuru Azakura versus Buga Karamov. It was talking about saying it was a 5-round title fight. So that really caught my attention. I don't know if they're all going to be 5. I'm assuming that Juan Archuleta and Oji Kubo is going to be 3 rounds because that was injury replacement. But who knows about Claire Lopez and Sika Superstar Flowers-Zawa? That could also be a 5-round title fight. So I don't know. We'll see what.
Well,
what
I know
happens.
that's been a big. I know that Shingo talked about that on Drake's show, Broad and Horizon, that they might be looking into it. But I didn't think that they would be looking into that early this time.
Are you sure that's not talking about like the Bellator portion of the card having 5-round fights?
No, I'm 100% talking about the Epic Rizin English Twitter account, the one talking about Mikuru versus Karamov matchup. It has on there, it states that it's a 5-round title fight. Specifically states 5 rounds on there. So if that, and like you said, Shingo-san said that they were going to be moving to 5-round title fights or the old school.
Did they maybe delete it, JayWolf?
No, because I'm seeing a tweet where they say the Horiguchi fight is 5 rounds.
No, keep going. Keep scrolling on the Rizin English Twitter account. The Rizin English Twitter account. Let me here. I'll bring it up for you myself as well.
Because I'm on the website on the Rise website as well, and that says 5 minutes 3 rounds. I'm not seeing anything here. I see. I'm on the thread. I'm on that thread that you're talking about. If they did say the number, they spelt it out because I don't see it here. No, I don't.
The only one I see with the 5 rounds and it's the Horiguchi Shinyu fight.
Oh my god, that Bellator course was so
I'm trying
awful.
to find it. I could have sworn I saw it saying it's going to be a 5-round title.
Do you think
match.
they maybe?
It might have been a mistake. They might have, because they wrote the Bellator tweet, they might have accidentally wrote the Rising one to also have 5 rounds.
Shingo's one man. He can't. He's doing all. He's being.
Well, does Hadith doesn't he also do this stuff?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, I guess it could be a Hafid as well. We do have I'm gonna get to you in a sec. Well, actually, wait, we got everybody. Oh wait, yeah, Claire. I picked, but we have a question from Falling Star. Just quickly, since it's not a Rizin thing. They want to know our feelings on Fury versus Nagano. CJ, I'll start with you.
It'll be awesome. I think it's cool. Nice to see Nagano want to get paid. He's being paid, and Fury should, by all accounts, handle him easily. But should be a fun bout.
JayWolf.
Yeah, it's going to be
PFL legends. Nagano taking on WBC champion, undisputed champion Tyson Fury.
Yes, this is going to be awesome. I remember watching Fury Wilder 3 with my dad. It was really fun. And that boxing match, one of the greatest heavyweight title boxing matches of the new modern era. I think it was just a lot of fun afterwards. They brought Ngannou into the ring, if you remember. That's when they first hyped up this matchup, and it was really fun back then.
Actually, I don't think they brought Fury. I mean, I don't think they brought Ngannou out to the ring after Fury versus Wilder 3. They brought him out after Fury versus White.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the Fury boxing matches where they brought Ngannou to the ring, it was freaking awesome, and it got me hyped for it then, and it got the boxing fans excited. And now that they announced it, it's not just an exhibition; it's an actual fight. And even if the titles aren't on the line, it's still an actual boxing match, and that's pretty cool. And on Teep's show, which Teep has a in with the boxing crossover fans because he does amazing old timey boxing shows about like old school guys like Harry Greb and Sam Langford and stuff. So, you know, his show is a kind of a little window into that boxing crossover fan, and his comments and stuff. The boxing fans are excited about it. It's going to be fun. It's the heavyweight UFC lineal heavyweight champion versus the current best boxing heavyweight champion. So it's the best mixed martial arts heavyweight champion versus the best boxing heavyweight champion. They're going to actually box in a real fight, not just an exhibition. So it's really cool. I'm really happy for him. Happy he got the bag. Happy he proved all the haters wrong that were talking trash on him.
Okay. Well, I gotta move on to Jay Chris. Sorry.
Okay, we just want to make sure about you guys are right about the 5-round title fight. It was I just looked back through it. I guess it was not on or they changed it from the
It was probably a mistake, JayWolf. It was probably a mistake. I don't think. Listen. They're tweeting for Bellator. They're tweeting for Rizin. They probably just confused the two, or they probably just mistweeted it.
You're right, but I would like them to do that in the future. Definitely we got to have the 5-round, at least 5-round title fights on the Rizin cards. If not, the 10, 5 and 5, like Almighty Pride FC style. Either one would be cool.
If you listen to Broad on Horizon, Jake Riggs' show, Shingo got asked that on, I don't know if it was this episode or the last episode, but it is an interesting topic that he does shed some light on. Jay Chris, quickly your thoughts on Fury Ngannou?
I mean, to be honest, it's just like how this upcoming Pacquiao versus Buakaw fight is going to be. It's going to be a cash grab. But in the case of Ngannou versus Fury, you got the undisputed lineal heavyweight boxing champ, who's the current WBC heavyweight champion of the world, versus the undisputed lineal UFC heavyweight champion, who basically never vacated his title in the ring or in the cage or whatever. And they're going to be facing off against each other. But, I mean, let's face it. It's going to take place, you know, on shitty Saudi soil. It's going to take place pretty much for the eyes of the world to see it. I mean, especially over here in the States, we're going to probably be able to see it during the day, like how the last Fury fight was against Dillian White. But still, though, I just hope it'll be a highly contested fight, even if Fury loses to Ngannou. I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to watch either way, wouldn't y'all think?
I'm just happy it's a real fight, not an exhibition, unlike Pacquiao versus Buakaw, which I don't think it's been confirmed that it's going to be exhibition, but it's
going to be 6 3-minute rounds with 2-minute rest periods in each round. That's
exhibition. I'm sorry. What am I saying? That's definitely exhibition. Yeah. At least this one's being treated as a legitimate fight, because originally reports came out that it was going to be exhibition, and people were like, fuck no. I don't know if that got misreported, or they listened and they're like, listen, we can't do this because it's dumb, because exhibition fights mean nothing, including in Rizin, JayWolf. So I'm glad. That's all I'll say. I'm glad that's a pro fight. That's all I can. That's the least I can at least positively say.
But you know what? Come to think of it, let's just say this: if Ngannou does knock out Fury, how would the world of boxing truly react to that? Like, would they basically say, "Oh, our sport is dead," or would they basically say, at least the title wasn't on the line?
There goes that Usyk. There goes that Usyk. Any interest in Usyk versus Fury? that's
well, actually, Usyk will still want to fight Fury. It's just that it'll have less meaning.
That's true. That's true.
No, they'll do an immediate rematch, because there's no way that Fury's just going to walk away with if he gets knocked out like that. He's going to want to come back and get a rematch to get that win back. So if Ngannou can knock him out, that's Ngannou securing a second bag, basically.
It's
going to be Ngannou securing the biggest bag in his career. That's bar none.
Ngannou for getting that money, and showing that all the haters want, like JayWolf said.
Let's go ahead and go to, since I think we're going by weight class on this fight. I mean, on these main events, on these title fights. Let's go to the fight that we can't believe isn't getting much publicity here. And that's Juan Archuleta versus now what was supposed to have been Kai Asakura is now Hiromasa Okikubo. First of all, when it comes down to it, What are y'all thoughts about the lack of coverage this fight has been getting since it was announced as Archuleta versus Asakura?
Well, I'm gonna.
Typical of the UFC media shills.
I mean,
I'm
was
gonna- I'm
Archuleta
gonna- I'm
versus
gonna be the-
Kai getting a lot of media attention in the West?
I was also gonna say this. This fight just literally got announced. Maybe how long ago? A week ago? Maybe 2 or 3
About
days ago?
5 days
Sooner
ago.
than that.
Okay.
No,
What
that
do
was
we-
with the Hiromasa injury replacement. This
Yeah.
bout's been announced for over a month.
No.
Kai
No.
Wait.
No.
Wait, G-Wolf, I'm so confused. Wait. I'm so,
This fight was not announced a month ago. It was announced like last week.
No,
It's just-
Archuleta versus Kai Glasakura was announced months and a half
Okay.
ago by
Okay.
Bellator
Yes, that-
297. It was already announced, and they didn't even mention it at Bellator 297. Remember how pissed off we were? Juan even tweeted about it, saying, "Hey, you know, you're number 3
And Jay, you
bantamweight,
think this,
the only
you
guy
think
to
this
beat."
company is
Tachi
completely
Mix.
run? You think
Well,
this?
I'm also. I mean, I think Archuleta is management company. It's like partially owned by the CEO of Pancrase. So I feel like Archuleta is like actually switching over to like the Japanese market. So maybe that's why
Jay,
Bellator doesn't care.
CJ,
Yeah, but here's the thing, CJ. If he would have switched over to a Japanese marketing company, how the hell would he have been able to get booked on Live with Kelly and Mark or whatever the hell it's called?
No, not that. I'm saying that I'm pretty sure Archuleta is like foreseeing his foreseeable future, like in Japan.
Well, CJ, we got a question. Maybe you can ask this. Will Juan Archuleta pay a visit to the Yasukuni Shrine before his knockout?
He was everywhere. He did go everywhere when he was here, so we'll see.
Wait, is that the very controversial shrine? Is the one that?
Yes, that's the one that the Chinese government
yes.
and the Korean
That's why
government.
I was like, I was wondering, like, why are you asking about that shrine? I was like, oh wait, that one, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, they're making a joke because he was wearing the war flag in his last fight because Yasukuni's where all the war criminals are buried.
I'm sorry. So I have a big theory behind this. I'm curious to know if you. I'm sorry, CJ, go ahead.
They talk about the lack of media attention for this. Is Super Rising getting any media attention in the US?
Outside of us, no.
No, it never does because it's a better product than the UFC. The superior rule set action brings better mixed martial arts action than the UFC. They don't want to bring it up. They don't want people to know that there's another iteration. Pride 2.0 is here. Whenever they see someone talk about like today's UFC, when they were talking about Mac Malley, one of the big accounts on MMA Twitter, and he talked about there need to be pride rules. Underneath that, you know what they brought? They didn't bring up Rizin, they brought up One, saying One's got pride rules. One only has grounded knees.
One has billions and billions of dollars that they just flush down the drain to pay people to talk about them.
Doesn't one like fly Eddie Bravo out there and just like pay him to shill for them essentially?
Yeah. Rizin doesn't do that.
Are brought up, it should be the first promotion to your mind should be the Epic Rizin Fighting Federation.
Wait, what about that? Isn't there like literally a promotion named Pride in like Indonesia or something?
Yes.
Oh yeah, One Pride. Okay, yeah, but
One Pride. They should be the one we talk about.
JayWolf, I'm just gonna kind of be not devil's advocate, but also kind of defend. Here's the thing. This is why if this was more of a Rizin versus Bellator show, the Rizin Bellator show from last year got pretty good coverage. I think
not good enough. I don't agree. It was not good enough for what
this is not a Rizin
Apex Shed level coverage.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, but if this had been a full Rizin versus Bellator card, you know, first portion of the Bellator show, maybe it's Bellator or whatever, and then this is Rizin versus Bellator and the Rizin portion, whatever, something like that. You don't think it would have gotten more coverage than just, you know, Kai Glasakura? Well, sorry, Ogi Kubo versus Archuleta?
No, because the UFC Shield media hates on him. Okay, because Sakaki Barasan, it's Pride 2.0, and if you remember, Pride, the Almighty Pride FC beat the snot out of the UFC.
Okay. But Joe, do you think that anybody, all these UFC media heads, that do you think that they know that Ogi Kubo beat out Alexander Pantoja back on the UFC
the Tough Show? Yes,
Tough Show, yes.
In the semifinals, right before the finals, he beat Hiromasa Oji Kubo, beat the current UFC champion in the semifinals of the tough tournament to move on to the finals. And of course, the UFC media is not going to tell you that. They don't want you to tell. They don't. And it's my theory of why Bellator won't even promote it that much and didn't even bring it up at 297 when they were advertising, the Bellator Times Rizin, the Bellator portion. They didn't even bring up Juan Archuleta's bout, even though Juan Archuleta is their number 3 bantamweight, and he is the only man to beat their current bantamweight champion.
JayWolf. Bellator is incompetently run. That's why.
Whatever. Sorry, I kind of blacked out for a second. Were you talking about Bellator for a second? It just like a void went over me.
Juan Archuleta is the number 3 Bellator bantamweight contender who has the only man to beat their current interim champion, Patchy Mix. The only man to beat him. Okay. And he has a win over UFC champion Pantoja. Okay. In the semifinals of Tough. Hiromasa Ojikubo is a great fighter. Okay. This is a great, his nickname should be Hero Masa because he's stepping up on late notice to fight a killer like Juan. Okay. And also,
you mean HERO instead of HIRO.
Yeah, exactly. For stepping up to take place of Kai Glassakura pulling out with an injury, getting injured
Lord.
2 weeks before the show. Gosh.
So what you're basically saying, JayWolf, what you're basically saying is that Hiromasa Ojikubo, who's basically the living embodiment of staying ready so you don't have to get ready, you're basically saying that Hiromasa Ojikubo is going to win this fight.
Huh? No, it's not guaranteed. No. I think Juan Archuleta, he is acclimated to superior rules. So he's showed that he's throwing grounded knees. Knows that he loves fighting Japan, his walkouts. I'm expecting possibly another potential walkout of the year candidate, even though I think my front runner for that is Yaman. I think Yaman is a clear front runner for walkout of the year candidate right now, but you never know. You remember Juan Archuleta had the walkout of the year at last year's New Year's Eve collaboration mega event.
Mm-hmm.
At least he had it was a candidate. If you're not going to give it
walkout with that Jaguar gear.
First absolutely. Off, that Yushi fight where the guy walked out with all the Yakuza actors, those were entrances.
Okay, well, that can be a candidate as well, too. I'm just telling you, Juan Archuleta is going to bring it. He's going to bring the spectacle, going to bring the action, and he is the number 3 ranked Bellator bantamweight. And that is one of their shark tanks with absolute killers in that division. Okay, he's a former champion at Bellator, everything. The guy is a great fighter. Okay, and Hiromasa Ojikubo is a hero for stepping up on short notice to keep this collaboration super fight on the card.
JayWolf,
and it's embarrassing that they did not promote it. The reason that Bellator didn't promote it is because Juan Archuleta is the only man to beat Patchy Mix. And what I think that they're hoping happens, because Patchy Mix is going to be fighting Sergio Pettis in a bantamweight title unification bout later this year. And I'm guessing that what they're planning on is if Juan Archuleta is able to capture the Bellator, is able to capture the Epic Rizin bantamweight title, and then the Patchy Mix and Sergio Pettis clash. If Patchy Mix can beat Sergio Pettis, become the undisputed Bellator bantamweight champion, they're going to have a cross promotion collaboration title super fight. Possibly, I don't know if it's as soon as New Year's Eve, but possibly next year. I can see them doing that because they want. I think that my theory of why they did not promote Juan Archuleta and Kai Asakura when it was announced is because Juan Archuleta again is the only man to defeat Patchy Mix, and he didn't just beat him like edge by him. He dominated him. He beat him clearly.
JayWolf, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. But guess what? Unfortunately, you have been proven wrong. This fight got ample coverage. Ample coverage. I'm gonna show you right now.
Let me go ahead and guess. Mainstream MMA sites are putting this up.
Absolutely, 100%. Look at this beautiful article by Sherdog. Oli Cooper replaces Asakura.
Oh Lord!
Look at that. I'm sorry, JayWolf.
Whoa, good
Checkmate.
job for one.
Checkmate, atheist.
Oh wow! But basically, Andrew, you're saying that major MMA sites are putting this up, I mean, why isn't this getting major television or radio or podcast attention?
What is
I can't say radio.
Kelly
what
Ripa
kind of
not
TV? Is Okigabo going to go fly over and be on the Tonight Show? Like, what are you guys expecting out of this?
Oh no, he can't go on. He can't go on any show right now, even if he wanted to. They're all on strike. But still,
well, I was gonna say, isn't Kelly Ripa?
If anything, those late night shows are desperate for content that don't need writers. Just
Indeed. But Andrew, you were trying to say something?
I was gonna say Juan Archuleta, as JayWolf said, he was on Kelly Ripa's show or whatever the
Ellie and Mark, I think they said
something like that. Yeah, whatever.
Did anyone watch that show after Regis died? Is he dead? I assume he's dead. But
yes, he's dead. He's dead.
Okay.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
I still call Regis and Kelly. Or if you remember, or
Regis and Kathy Lee.
Yeah, Regis and Kathy Lee.
Yes.
Well, CJ,
it's a big show. It's a big morning show, and it was great to see Juan on there and talk about the superior rule set on there.
I'll ask all my coworkers the next day, hey, did you see Juan Archuleta versus Hiromasa Okubo? I'll specifically ask every woman that I see.
And they'll say no. Don't be surprised if they say no.
Their heads will explode because they'll have no idea what I'm talking about. CJ, is this getting proper coverage? Is this getting proper coverage in Japanese?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes. Getting what it deserves. I mean, yeah, it's fine. People like Okigabo, he's a popular fighter. Archuleta's made a big impression in Japan. People like who he is.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Archuleta can do everything that Okigabo can do better than Okigabo. So I think I see Juan winning just because, I mean, Okigabo is like a wrestling grinder, which is exactly what Juan is. But Juan's probably the better striker.
The other thing also, we have MMA math here as well. Common opponent, Seol Kim.
Well, didn't they also both fight Naoki Inoue?
Oh yes. We got two cases of MMA math here where Juan closely defeated Naoki Inoue. Hiromasa went right through Naoki. Well, I shouldn't say that. Remember that first round? He had almost submitted him. But then he came back in the 2 rounds, and then Seol Kim walked right through Hiromasa, and then Archuleta
also defeated Archuleta.
Yes,
that's true. That's also unofficially true. So interesting little thing we have here. The other thing though is that you said that did you say, wait, JayWolf, did you say that Archuleta was an action fighter, or did you say Okubo was an action fighter?
They both are.
Okay, that is so incorrect.
Juan knows the assignment.
That is incorrect. That is very incorrect. I have to.
Juan knows the assignment, and OG Kubo, he was in a fantastic bout that some have called a fight of the year contender in one of his recent bouts. Okay, so they do have
the most vague statement I've ever heard in his career. He was in one fight that was a good fight.
Recently, like
no details.
Recent fight.
It was
CJ,
recent.
Come on, give the guy some credit. The guy.
I will.
That's like,
JayWolf. So CJ, we were there at that fight with the Naoki fight. So
it was good.
Yeah, we'll definitely give him credit for that. Actually, I want to ask this, CJ, before I'll go back to you, JayWolf, in a second. Do you think this would have been the main event had Kai not been injured? Because my theory was that Mikuru was going to co-main, Kai was going to main. That's why I thought they were going to do.
I feel like Mikuru's always going to be the main.
Interesting, because now I was like, oh, this definitely has to co-main. I thought, oh, well, maybe.
Well,
right.
I definitely feel like this is the co-main event now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It might have been a toss-up, but I mean, Mikuru's the bigger name. It would just make sense. But
well,
Kai has more of a future, so maybe you put him in the main.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but JayWolf, going back to you, I'm gonna have to ask you to pick a winner. And who do you think will become the Rizin bantamweight champion?
Juan Archuleta. Juan, the Spaniard Archuleta. I think he's just got more tools. He knows the assignment. Just an extremely high level fighter. Former Bellator champion. He's got the skills. And Hiromasa. Credit to him. He's coming on just 2 weeks' notice. Okay, so it's just a huge, tall task for him to take on a fighter the caliber of Juan Archuleta on 2 weeks' notice. And what you were saying, this was the main event because it was going to be the collaboration super fight.
That's what I think. This wasn't no collaboration super fight. It was just my that's what my mind was on me. But go on,
Yeah,
Gio.
it was the original main event until Kai Glasakura got injured again. So then now it's now Makiru's fight is the most. That's I mean, hopefully there's going to be 5 rounds. I don't know what happened to that tweet, but
Not gonna be 5
if not-
fights. Not gonna be 5 fights.
Okay,
We'll
well,
get him.
if
We'll
not-
get it.
if not
So this whole
one-
fight, they'll announce it when they're ready to go into like championship rounds. I
Okay.
think. They're-
JayWolf, are you from you said you're from California, right? You live close to Oakland?
No, that's Northern California. I'm in Southern California.
For some reason, the way you talk reminds me of like Al Davis. You're just like speaking in like catchphrases nonstop. Just win, baby. Whatever it takes. Superior rule set. He knows the assignment.
hot girl fighters. Hot girl fighters.
Pretty impressive.
Oh, thanks. No, it's just look. My lingo comes from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just freaking loved them when I was a kid.
Classic.
Yeah,
Favorite
the
turtle.
1990s,
Favorite turtle.
the 1990s one, the live action one, 1990s.
That's the only one that counts. The 1, 2, 3, where they go to Japan and teach the Japanese to make pizza.
You know, are you looking forward to a new one where April is an overweight woman?
No, you know what? The newer ones are not as cool as the 1991 because they use computer graphics and stuff. Where the 1991 was all
underrated character. Underrated character was Casey Jones.
Exactly.
Badass.
Going badass. I mean, and just the entire the way they did Splinter, everything. But anyways, the newer ones that they have Bebop, Rocksteady, and Kang, all that good stuff. So,
no, but JayWolf, the real question is, who's your favorite turtle?
Raphael.
You're so moody. You're so moody. You're like you're picking the one that's all depressed and lashing out.
No, that's because I did identify most with Raphael because he's the got the anger issues and stuff. And but I want to be Mikey, of course. I want to be Mikey with the nunchucks.
I like Michelangelo.
Yeah, the
village idiot.
So yeah, I mean but I'm Raphael, unfortunately, the big, strong, tough guy. But no, that's where a lot. I mean, that's just my background is I'm from 80s and 90s. That's just where that comes from. And
I have yet to hear you drop Cowabunga in any of your fight review videos.
Oh well, you know what? Might as well have to do that this one for the closing one on this one. We're gonna go Pride Never Die. Pride is Rising. Cowabunga.
JayWolf. You said Archuleta, right? right?
Yes, absolutely.
How do you think he beats Ogi Kubo?
I want to say he finishes him because and I want it to be by superior rule set. Either grounded knees, soccer kicks, or stomps, because I want that highlight, because international audiences are going to be paying attention to this one, even though it didn't get any coverage from the UFC media, because it's a very high profile collaboration super fight, even with the late replacement. So it just I'm expecting fireworks, even with the late replacement, injury replacement. I still expect fireworks from Juan Archuleta here.
I think regardless, Ogi Kubo will come prepared. The fights, regardless.
Of course,
I'll get
a UFC champion right now.
That's
true.
Pantoja. Jay, Chris, who's your favorite turtle, and who do you think is going to win this fight?
It's supposed to be like a for real question because I never watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You're more of a Vanilla Ice fan from the second one.
Well, Jay Chris, actually, in fairness, I know you like anime. This started out I think it's been I didn't mean to start out as an anime, but it started out like I think hasn't there been an anime version?
I think
there
an
anime version.
Not that
the original comic was very violent. It wasn't this like kid friendly stuff. It was
an incredibly violent spoof of Marvel.
Yeah.
Then it got bought out by Marvel for a time or two.
Yeah, but it was a cartoon in the late 80s. The cartoon with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The late 80s was awesome.
No
better time to be a kid.
When cartoons weren't woke, Jay, right? When cartoons weren't woke.
I don't know. At the end of the cartoons did tell you to like pick up garbage and stuff.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
The power is yours.
They were dope into the 90s too, with the X-Men and the Spider-Man from the early 90s. Man, that was when
Black,
cartoons,
all the good stuff.
Man, sorry, Jay Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
But still, though, I never watched a single episode of the Ninja Turtles. I'm surprised I even know or heard about it. But still, though, enough about all that. when it comes down to this particular fight, Archuleta versus Ogi Kubo, I think that Ogi Kubo, despite the fact that he's coming in as a late notice replacement, I mean, despite the fact that he's the 2021 Japan Bantamweight Grand Prix winner, and despite the fact that everybody loves him, I mean, we do too, let's be real, I still think that he's going to come into this with a shit ton of problems on his hand. I do think that Juan Archuleta is going to come in and break Ogi Kubo's hopes of becoming the rising bantamweight champion, possibly via first or second round finish, just to basically give the American tabloids and, the American talk shows something to brag about. Maybe Bellator something to brag about. But if this fight does go the way of Ogi Kubo, he needs to make it a fight worth watching. He needs to basically I'm not trying to say his style is boring, but I think he needs to make this fight something that everybody can enjoy, as far as, not giving in to Archuleta's quick fight style, not giving in to Archuleta's strikes so easily. Just make it a fight worth watching, not get your ass handed to you quickly. That's what I gotta say. But still, no, Archuleta, first or second round finish.
Jacob Iyer says this man said Bible Black and also BTAS. What was the best 90s cartoon? Well, what am I thinking? What's BTAS? BTAS. Why am I not?
Batman the animated series.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes,
oh,
that
okay.
was a badass one
Yes.
for
I
sure.
just call it Batman. I was like BTAS. What? Okay, but yeah, no, that was an amazing. That was the best cartoon out of all.
As far as that other title that you mentioned, CJ, I would say shame on you, but half of us in here are deviants anyways.
I just thought it'd be funny to slip that in there.
I think everybody here brings up great points about both fighters, especially what you said, Jay Chris, about Juan's stock. Well, here's the thing is that both of these fighters can be grindy, I guess you could say, and that can mean either boring or it can mean exciting. That's the thing. And when you have two fighters who are grindy, which way is it going to go? But in terms of who's the better grinder, I think definitely Archuleta is a better. I think Archuleta is good. Yeah. Here's the thing: Ogi Kubo's also lost his last two fights. Kyoji fight, he looked awful and like extremely awful, like near badly awful.
Well, was that flyweight or bantamweight?
That was flyweight.
Okay, so this is at bantamweight, so this is going to be 10 pounds less that he has to cut.
Yeah, he's small for a bantamweight though.
Yeah, but maybe the problems in the Kyoji bout was because he was cutting all that weight to get.
No, the problem with the Kyoji fight was that he fought Kyoji.
Yeah,
he's lost him every time.
No,
he lost.
I'm just saying that possibly the weight cut could have factored into that. And this time there
was no weight cut. He's 5'3", man. He's a 5'3" man. He has no problem making 125.
All right, hey, we saw how it affected
that.
Patricio Pitbull. The weight cut affected him. So
I think everything that Ogi Kubo can do, Archuleta can do better. This should be, especially on 1 week's ish notice. This should be an easy win for Archuleta, or as I call him, Juan Pan Archuleta. That's what I call him.
Why do you call him that, dude?
He's making a Japan joke.
Yeah. And Asian
he's
John.
Gonna be Epic Rizin's American representative in Japan once he comes over permanently.
Why not go full like Juan Pan Man?
There you go. Juan Pan Archuleta.
Asian John 15 says, to be fair, Horiguchi has everyone's number in Japan. That's true, except for one person.
Mazatatu.
Well, sorry?
Glassakura?
Nope, Ueda. Masatatsu Ueda.
That is true.
Well, only guy to defeat him. Well, first guy to defeat him, I should say the only guy to defeat him.
Yeah, when he was like barely out of high school.
I know. But anyway, I think I knew he would defeat him in a rematch anyway.
Yeah, but enough about all that. Let's go ahead and get on to the main event of the card, which, because of what happened with the previous fight we just talked about, is now officially designated should be officially designated in a few days as the main event of the Super Rizin 2 card. It's Mikuru Asakura versus Vugar Karamov to become the fourth ever Rizin Fighting Federation featherweight champion of the world. Thoughts?
CJ, I'll first ask, are you happy this is now a title fight and no longer
my
I shouldn't say
God.
non-title fight, but I guess, are you happy it's a title fight now or no?
It is so funny that people were jokingly saying that as soon as they stripped Kleber, that they were going to turn this into a title fight. And like, it's hilarious that it actually happened. Like, Kleber misses weight, wins this fight. Kleber, who it took him forever even to get his title fight, and then just whoop, we see a chance to give Mikuru the title. We are slapping this on the Mikuru Karamov fight, and hell yeah, who's this Kleber Koike you're speaking about? So it's kind of funny that this got. Yeah, he did.
So they take that serious in Japan, and they stripped him of the title because he missed weight. You got to make weight in Japan.
I thought they were going to wait. I thought they would do something for like New Year's Eve where they do.
Well, I thought they were going to do like Kleber versus the winner of this for the title.
Oh no, I don't think they were going to give Kleber. I think Kleber was going to have to like wouldn't get a title fight until maybe next year. I thought they're going to whoever wins this and then versus I don't know, Kanehara, someone like that on New Year's Eve. And
it is kind of funny though that they saw a chance to make Mikuru. I mean, Mikuru flew the Pitbull brothers in to train at Triforce for this fight.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's like, I mean, they're good sparring partners, but has their gym produced anyone besides Betch Carrera and themselves?
The Pitbull brothers?
Yeah.
Some of them fight for Bellator, right, JayWolf? You know more about that.
Okay, enough said. They have fighters in Bellator. So that's all I need to know.
There's top 10 fighters. And they have some good fighters in both male and females in their gym.
I'm sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe. Isn't one of the fighters fighting in Pancreas or Shuto? One of the Brazilian, because I saw there was a Brazilian fighter fighting in Pancreas or Shuto coming up, and they did say that person was Pitbull Jim.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know if it's one of those like Brazilians living in Japan and he used to train there and Tapology is like out of date, but
well, I mean, Deep still says that one guy trains at TriStar.
Oh yeah,
and is fighting today. What's his name? But yeah. So I mean, Mikuru's obviously taking it seriously. He's doing some sparring partners. It's just that Karamov's looked so dominant in all of his Rizin fights, except for the Saito fight. And Asakura hasn't finished a guy since like 2019. Asakura's not been having the best performances of his career. So
oh wow, you didn't say that, you don't think that Ushiku fight showed how great of a fighter Mikuru is?
You know, in Mikuru's defense, I think a lot of that, it takes two to tango. And I think Ushiku was just being especially boring that fight. I mean, you can only fight a guy that only pulls guard and do so much.
So Jacob Iyer says this. Mikuru made sure Bara had to give him a title fight, otherwise Rizin is blacklisted from breaking down, and Bara couldn't afford that.
I mean, I'm sure that Bara is asking Mikuru lots of advice because Bara's trying to like become an influencer now.
Oh yes,
so maybe Mikuru is like giving us some advice on how to use the gram.
King Sulo in the Rizin Discord chat is helping keep us up on the influencer adventures of Sakaki Bara-san. I mean, so here's the obvious thing. Says I think they obviously I'm assuming they want Mikuru to win.
Of course they do.
Yeah,
of course they do.
And everybody does. We all want Mikuru to win.
Well, but I don't know if I want.
Not really.
No,
not really.
Really?
Was Karamov training with Tokik at Fight Cliff for this fight down in like Miami?
Yeah, I think it was Fight Cliff? Yeah, it was Fight Cliff, yeah.
So it seems to me that Karamov and probably had significantly better training than Asakura going into this fight.
Not even that, just I think
he's better in general.
But also Karamov is just, I think, a better fighter overall in general. I mean, you brought the Saito fight. I think he would have won that fight had he not gotten that red card. I really do believe that.
What's Asakura going to do about the wrestling? Like, I just don't see him being able to stop it at all.
Also the thing is that other than Kleber, Mikuru hasn't really fought anybody who's this hyper aggressive as Karamov is. You remember? And also don't remember the Jorge fight.
Ushiku.
Oh, I apologize. I stand corrected. Ushiku. But remember the Karamov Jorge fights? Jorge was clearly like he was scared. He did not know how to engage with this guy, and it really showed in that fight.
Well, also like the Takajima fight was just like a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I mean, Karamov's very aggressive from the very beginning.
It's an interesting fight because you would think that they would want to protect Mikuru, but I'm also thinking they're not going to give Mikuru this fight if they know.
It's one of those weird Japanese things where like Karamov's got such a name, or if Mikuru loses to him, it's just like, of course he lost to him. Karamov's a very good fighter. Mikuru's also still a good fighter. It's like better than having him lose to a nobody.
I mean, CJ, do you see any way of Mikuru beating Karamov at all?
Knockout.
Is this Mikuru striking? Is this Mikuru striking even at a level? Well, because listen,
no.
he's knocked
he hasn't
out
knocked anyone out since 2019. So
wasn't it Takeshi Lion? I think was the last person.
No, he's knocked someone out since then.
Oh, okay, but like his striking is so ordinary. And like,
he doesn't throw combos. It's very like, yeah, your assessment is correct.
Maybe the Pitbull brothers will help with that, but I don't know. I don't see the Pitbull brothers as being like these world class.
I thought he did land some good strikes against Kleber in their fight, but Kleber's striking defense is terrible. But I mean, the benefit of the Pitbull brothers, I would assume, is just to like practice wrestling takedown defense. Maybe
really. There's a Pitbull brothers.
What are the Pitbulls going to teach them? Like how to be an aggressive brawler? Like that's like every gym that comes out of their gym's an aggressive brawler, which doesn't seem to fit Mikuru's style very well.
You would think that
Mikuru is training with them. He brought them in to train with them. He's training with the Pitbull brothers. Are some of the highest lighter weight division mixed martial artists there is, especially Patricio. For featherweight, he's the Bellator GOAT. And, he almost became the triple champion. He just couldn't handle the cut down to 125 pounds. But he's an excellent lighter weight fighter, especially at featherweight.
They're very good fighters. I'm just saying that
featherweight.
I feel like all of the fighters that come out of their gym have like a very similar like brawling style.
Well, maybe that's the way to beat Karamov. I don't know, but like if his thing was wrestling events, I'm sorry to say, Mikuru, you went to the wrong gym. You could have just called Ota, and he could have given you some keys on probably good wrestling defense.
I don't think he's going there to train wrestling or striking or anything. I think he's just going there to train with a high level mixed martial artist. Like
that's dumb. That's dumb. I'm sorry.
It's that featherweight. It's that featherweight, and Patricio Pitbull is one of the best featherweights in the world. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not a similar fighter to Karamov. If you're looking for like a sparring partner to Karamov, I would have brought in a more wrestling focused fighter.
Oh, I guess you're right on that. On that point.
If you want to even the striking thing again, the striking. I would even say that Vugar's striking is probably better than Mikuru's. Honestly,
that's like bringing Vanderlei Silva in to be your striking coach. He's like, all right, eat a bunch of shots to the face, but be sure to hit them harder and be super aggressive.
But CJ, when it comes down to brass tacks, you think that Karamov's gonna easily mow through Mikuru and become the heavyweight champion?
I mean, I think he's gonna go for the takedown almost immediately.
Okay.
And once he gets it, I think he can break Mikuru's will to fight.
For 3 rounds, you think he could just do this for 3 rounds, maybe 5? If that happens, but let's assume for 3 now. Do you think?
I think he finishes him. I think he can finish Mikuru on the ground.
Okay.
JayWolf? I think Kai probably has significantly better takedown defense than Mikuru does, which isn't saying a lot, but
I would agree with that. JayWolf, how do you? You call him Mikuru Action Brother? I think that's the wrong moniker to give him.
No, the Azakura Action Bros. That's the moniker I gave to both them bros because they bring the action. They have shown before they bring that. They know the assignment about the superior rule set, and They just bring it a lot more often than not. They bring the action. Okay, and this bout is very interesting. This is at featherweight. Mikuru has fought up at lightweight before. So this is at featherweight, so he's going to be a good size opponent here. Like you guys are saying, Vuga Karamov is very good, and this would not, like, if Mikuru can't beat him for the title, that's not as bad a loss as somebody who's not as good a fighter as Vugar. Plus, also, if Vugar wins, then they have an Azerbaijani champion going into, because they are planning on doing an Azerbaijan show. They had Sakaki Barasan and Shingo-san were in Azerbaijan, right?
Okay, but JayWolf, I gotta tell you, I'm sorry, I'm gonna sound like it's such a dick. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Don't, just because they're there doesn't mean anything's happening now. I wouldn't focus on what Rizin said. A lot of shit.
Future plans.
It never happened. Okay, but then when they announce,
they're all gonna fight at the Hawaii show.
When they have
it works too.
When they say, hey, when they make a press conference, say, hey, we're going to be having an Azerbaijani show on November 20th, 2024 at the Azerbaijani whatever stadium, then believe them. But right now, it's just them going to Azerbaijan for whatever reason.
Okay, what is that whatever reason? That's what I'm saying. They're planning a show there. They're planning
maybe they won't. Maybe they won't if Mikuru loses. Maybe they won't.
Azerbaijani champion. They could do Vugar Karamov versus Kleber Kyoki in Azerbaijan for the title. I mean, plus who knows by that time
who's Kleber Kyoki
or Kleber Kyoki, whatever. Look, and then also they could have
Kleber Elf.
Is that where Kleber comes from? The Kleber Elves? That's right. Those cookies are good. But also, in this time that they could also be building Tofik back into a rematch with Satoshi for the title. So think about that a future Azerbaijan show with Vugar Karamov as the featherweight title holder, and defending against whoever they built up to defend the face, and then also for co-main Tofik and Satoshi going at it again for the title. I mean, that is a pretty good Azerbaijan show right there.
Wait until that's announced, JayWolf. Don't listen. If there's anything,
I'm dreaming out loud. I'm dreaming and creating out loud. That's part of how you create. You dream and create like that. You speak it into existence. Jay Krish, do you want to speak on this main event or what? You're going crazy over there. Seems like you're getting antsy.
I'm just trying to keep myself from being bored in case anybody isn't seeing my antics in the background. But still, though, when it comes down to this particular fight, Mikuru Asakura versus Vugar Karamov, you have to think the winner of this fight will face off against Kleber Koike. Kleber Koike, Jay.
I'm going to call him Kleber Kyoke for
oh my god! But still, though,
like the chips.
Oh dear God! Point of the matter is, the winner of this fight is expected to face off against Kleber Koike at a later date and time. But as far as this fight goes, and the here and the now, I think that it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to bring the epic into Epic Rizin, like JayWolf always says.
Absolutely.
But when it comes down to this particular fight, I mean, I don't know. I think Japanese fans are going to be left stunned because of the fact that Mikuru Asakura is going to come into this fight looking to become a world champion and get his hopes and dreams crushed once again. Because, of course, let's just say, Azerbaijan's been waiting for a world champion in MMA probably since Tofik fought for the title 2 years ago. I think it's about that time that Azerbaijan gets their world champion in Vugar Karamov so that we can actually appreciate them. You know what I mean?
Are you officially picking Vugar to win?
Yeah, I am officially picking Vugar Karamov to beat Mikuru Asakura, possibly be a second or third round finish. And I think that when it comes down to it, Mikuru may have all this money from breaking down, but when this fight happens and he loses, he's going to probably end up having a breakdown. No disrespect.
JayWolf, you didn't give a pick. Do you think Vugar or Mikuru is gonna win?
Oh yeah. No, I want Mikuru to win because that'd be the best for the Epic Rizin because Mikuru is a superstar in Japan, and have him winning the title would be just fantastic for the Epic Rizin brand in the Japanese market. So and they Kleber, okay, or Kleber, he missed weight and was stripped of the title fair and square. You have to make weight. So I have no problem with them making this a title bout. So if Mikuru can win this, that'd be great. But I am officially picking Vugar to win. I just think he's a great fighter, and I think it'd be great, and I think that's what they're thinking as well. That's why they made this matchup. I mean, it just whoever wins, the Epic Rizin wins. On one hand, you get Mikuru Asakura, one of the Asakura Action Bros, superstar in Japan for their market. On the other hand, you get a guy who you could take to Azerbaijan, the headliner show, international show. So it's just a win-win for Rizin, and it's a win-win for us fans. Like Jay Chris said, it's going to be a banger, barn burner title fight. And I think it's more, that's a 50-50 toss-up, to be honest with you. But I just think Vugar's grappling is excellent. So I think he might be able to edge it out.
You're being generous saying 50-50. I mean, if I'm just gonna go by what I've seen recently from Mikuru and what I've seen recently by Vugar, there's like no way Stevie Wonder would even see that it's not 50-50.
How was Mikuru at featherweight recently? Most of his fights have been at lightweight recently. So what? No. His last lightweight fight was against Yusuke Yachi, I believe. Every fight besides that's been a weird catch weight, I think, or featherweights. Is that what it was?
CJ, I'm not crazy, right? No, that's I don't remember him having a lightweight fight besides hold on. He fought Gustavo. Was that light? That was definitely a lightweight.
That is a lightweight. Gustavo, Luis Killer Gustavo is a lightweight. Yes.
Okay, yeah. But he also no. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. No, sorry. No. He's looked like shit. He's looked okay.
His past couple fights have been at 146 pounds.
Okay. He's not looked like, he doesn't look like if watching those fights doesn't make me think he's gonna beat Vugar. Every fight that I've seen Vugar in makes me think, okay, this guy can easily walk through Asakura. And then
you know what it is, Drew? I got it. Mikuru, how he rocked Floyd Money Mayweather.
No, he didn't. Jesus Christ.
Knock out Vugar Karamov because of that.
I'm gonna do the thing. Cut his mic. That doesn't count because it was an exhibition fight anyway. So
I'm joking.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Ideally, what I would hope. So let's just say Vugar did win. The real fight to make is Vugar versus Kleber. That to me is a much more interesting fight stylistically.
Yeah, put that in Azerbaijan as the main event.
Jacob Ayers says that he first says Mikuru winning, then immediately hiring all of Tokyo's escorts, and then he also says you all ain't trusting the plan that Bara has. This fight is definitely going to be rigged, so Mikuru can take home the title. Imagine if there's like a Montreal screw job type thing.
No. If it's a Montreal screw job ending to this fight,
Tokyo screw job.
No, if it's a Montreal screw job type of ending to this fight, damn well the major fight world's gonna say it's A, rigged, and B, high time for Rizin to get buried.
Yes. So
the UFC media, that's exactly what the UFC media will do. They'll finally pay attention to it if there's something like that.
Hold on, JayWolf. CJ. Since we've gone over all the fights, I want you to pick one of the title matches that you're looking forward to, and one of the non-title matches you're looking forward to.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Seika Izawa Blair Lopez fights. Just because I've interviewed the fighters, I'm kind of more invested in that fight. Mm-hmm. And outside of that fight, let me look at the entire card real quick.
While you're looking at the card, I just want to also give a shout out to you and JayWolf. You and Teep did a great breakdown with Santiago from Bellator Zone.
Appreciate that.
Talking about the Bellator fights mainly.
Teep and JayWolf's an ordinarily long preview to the Bellator times Rizin event.
And
That was a
in
lot of
fairness, it
fun.
wasn't inordinately long. It's actually a pretty it's not quick, but it's
Yeah.
definitely not inordinately long as some of your
It was
other.
only 2 hours this time.
Yeah,
Chief
that's
had
fine.
something he had to do, and they only let me really talk about the Bellator portion, but I kept trying to go to the Epic Rizin portion, of course, because that's what the superior
That's
rules
why,
say.
but if people want to like hear a nice in-depth thing, that's like I highly recommend people listen to
Oh,
that.
thanks, brother. I really appreciate that. Also, tomorrow we're going to be on with Jay Krish on Focus Fights, possibly with Teep as well. So look out for that tomorrow as well. Especially if you enjoyed the Teep's podcast with Teep and JayWolf and Orton Long preview. We're doing a Focus Fights awesome preview tomorrow as well. So this like tonight's We Are Rizin podcast here was mostly about the Epic Rizin, Super Rizin portion. And tomorrow they're gonna on Focus Fights with Jay Krish. We're gonna focus on the Bellator portion with a little bit of the Epic Rizin portion as well.
So CJ says, I hope I gave you enough time to look at the rest of the card. Is there a non-title fight that you're looking forward to?
I mean, there's not that many of them. It's not a huge card, but I'm if I had to pick, I'd say just kind of interested to see how Fat Ninja does at the big stage.
Interesting. JayWolf, one title fight, won the title fights and won the non-title fights.
I want to pick Sika Superstar Flower Izawa versus Claire Lopez, from Combate Global, a collaboration super fight, title fight, just incredible from a lighter weight division of the women's. I'm really looking forward to that one. But CJ already picked that one, so I want to pick Mikuru Azakura Action Bro versus Vugar Karimov for the featherweight title. That's the title fight I'm looking forward to the most because the Juan Archuleta versus Kai Glassakura got ruined, and because Kai Glassakura got injured. Otherwise, I would be looking forward to that one because that would be the premier collaboration super fight on these cards. But unfortunately, Kai Glassakura got injured, so now it's Hiro Oji Kubo stepping up. So I'm going with Mikuru Azakura versus Vugar Karimov as the main one. Since CJ already picked,
be careful. The last time you deemed someone hero, Chihiro Suzuki, he got destroyed pretty easily. So I don't know. This could be like walking out to Eminem at this point. Every time you call someone hero in their name, they just get destroyed within like 2 minutes in the first round. So we'll see what happens.
Unless your name's Yuki Motoya.
Yeah.
Jay Chris, one of the title fights that you're looking forward to, one of the non-title fights.
The non-title fight.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
Okay, for a non-title fight, of course, I want to pick Tofik Musayev, the number 3 Bellator lightweight, coming back to Epic Rizin, the superior rule set. But at the same time, I'm really looking forward to the Ota and Takizawa bout because, Ota is a Olympic silver medalist, and he shows he knows the assignment with a superior rule set. So, it's really tough to pick between those two, but I got to go with the Ota matchup because I think the Tofik matchup is just going to be because that one was, remember, it was supposed to be Tofik versus Luis Killer Gustavo, which would have been absolutely, that's like a title fight in of itself, but Gustavo got injured. So, props for Akira for stepping up on that one, but I think it's going to be Tofik's going to win that one for sure. But the Ota and Takizawa is like a more like 50-50 matchup type of thing, and just so I'm looking forward to that one as well. Plus, also there's also the flyweight bout as well. So if I had to pick one,
you get to pick one non-title. You get to pick one. That's not fair. That's not fair
because Tofik was his original opponent, Luis Killer Gustavo, got injured. So I'm picking Ota Takizawa.
I'll definitely say that I think the matches that were originally planned for this show overall were much more interesting than the ones that they have found replacements for. I think we can all definitely agree that
of course that's how it works, but
not all the time. I
mean, they did pretty good though with the replacements, right? I mean, according to Tapology, Akira is the number 1.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, that's Tapology. Don't kill the messenger here. And then
no, because Tapology is so whatever. Jay Chris, your thoughts, sir?
Hey,
one title
Kubo
fight, one title fight you're looking forward to, one non-title fight you're looking forward to. Presumably, hopefully, that doesn't have the number one lightweight in the world. I'm hoping in Japan or whatever.
Non-title first. The one non-title fight I'm looking forward to is the one fight that's basically the rare unicorn on this entire card, both Rizin versus Bellator and Super Rizin. And that's Daichi Abe versus Igor Tanabe at middleweight. Especially, and it's not because I just interviewed Tanabe and I have not put up the interview for him yet. I will put it up in a few days, hopefully before fight time next weekend. But still, though, I think Tanabe is the future of the upper weight classes in Japan. If not in Japan, then definitely somewhere around the world will take advantage of him, even if he does lose this fight. But I think that he's going to win this fight because I think he's going to do everything he can to humble Daichi Abe. Now, as far as the title fight that I'm most looking forward to, and I'm being really honest here, the title fight that I am mostly looking forward to is the one title fight that's barely getting any media attention on this side of the Pacific, and that is Hiromasa Okikubo versus Juan Archuleta. I mean, if I didn't care about this particular fight, I wouldn't have recorded video from a damn Disney ABC talk show profiling Archuleta's appearance and basically them saying, "Oh, check out the fight on pay-per-view," not knowing that it was going to be on Fight, because of course, let's just be real, if it's going to be shown in the US or on Fight TV, integrated sports has to have a hand in it. But still, though, I am most looking forward to Okikubo versus Archuleta because of the fact that this particular fight is going to get the world talking regardless of if Archuleta wins or not. And if he does win, it might lead to the winner of the Pettis versus mixed fight for the Bellator title becoming this might lead to a unified world title fight. Let's be real. And this, it'll obviously lead to one of the rarest title fights in all of MMA, especially with two active promotions. But yeah, those are the fights I'm looking forward to. Abe versus Tanabe and Okikubo versus Archuleta. What say you, Andrew?
Oh, you kind of you said this kind of gave the reasons for Fat Ninja and Daichi Abe. Plus also I like to see how BJJ guys do in MMA fights, especially this will be a very high level MMA, probably an actual MMA fighter that he's facing in his career. Fat Ninja I'm talking about. And then title fight, listen, going with CJ, Lopez Izawa. I think it's the most compelling out of the two, considering, I maybe would say Kai versus Juan had Kai Glassakura been in the fight, but I'll definitely say my interest is lower because of Okikubo, because based on most recent performances. So
you're basically saying that if it would have been Asakura versus Archuleta, Kai Asakura versus,
I think that one's absolutely. I think that one would have been a lot more compelling than Okikubo versus Archuleta. But that's Rizin, Super Rizin 2, Bellator X Rizin, Times Rizin,
Bellator Times Rizin.
CJ, what have you got cooking up on Sogu Kaku? You said you had an interview with Seikazawa. Anything else you could talk about and plug?
Interviewed Seika, so we're going to be releasing an article about that this week. I'll be also going to the Rising show, so there should be some articles about that as well. Setting up an interview with Karen for her upcoming return, now that she's no longer part of Team Pravjara. And I also interviewed Shuto Watanabe ahead of his retirement bout. And I'm writing an article on Miko Nirvana. So got a lot of stuff coming up. Just keep your eye out.
I think he's having a grappling fight tonight, right?
He's very busy. He does. He's fighting at Nexus on a grappling bout. And then he's also having his final fight in August, but he made it clear he's going to keep grappling and doing stuff like that after he retires. So.
And isn't Karen having a fight coming up as well for Pancrase?
Yes, in Pancrase. And Deep news. In September, Deep looks awesome. They have the Deep Jewels 10th anniversary show, so we'll be doing some coverage for that. And also Deep versus Black Combat 2, the true collaboration event Bellator versus Rising wishes it was Deep versus Black Combat.
I'll put Deep versus not
Okay.
Naragara. Not
Did you
Naragari.
see? Did you see that Godfather Black took a bunch of Korean dudes to like an island in South Korea and was like preparing for the Japanese invasion? So I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yes. What he's doing is great. What he's
awesome.
doing, Godfather Black is perfect promoter, and she Saiki is a perfect foil to him.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So
we got an article also. We also interviewed Murakami Aya, who slapped the shit out of you when you met her, and she'll be fighting for the microweight title at Deep Jewel. So it should be great.
Beautiful.
Wow.
JayWolf, you got anything to plug?
Yes, I do. I have a bunch of stuff to plug, but also right before I do, I'd like to ask you guys one thing that we did not talk about yet from Jim Ozeki's podcast, Yamata Damashi with Ensign Inoue. They also brought up, besides previewing the September 24th Rizin 44 event, could be possibly a collaboration event along with the Landmark 6 event. They also said that in the near future, on one of these events, there's going to be a David versus Goliath matchup. David versus Goliath open weight matchup. That's how I'm interpreting that. And I want to know, who do you guys think that could possibly be? And then I'd like to plug my stuff with Teep and Jay Krish after I hear you guys' answer.
CJ.
Well, considering the news is coming from Ensign, who trains Sidario, who is a large person, it probably means that Sidario will be the Goliath in this situation. And I would assume they're going to have some weird fight where he fights somebody who's not a heavyweight. Maybe under different rules, maybe like have like a kickboxing match or something. I don't know. But I have no idea who his opponent could be.
Well, JayWolf, who do you think it could be? Because you're
I like that. I liked hearing CJ's explanation because Ensign Inoue is connected to Sudario, so could possibly be a heavyweight versus a smaller guy, and I don't know who that smaller fighter would be to be the David in this Goliath matchup. But I'm incredibly excited to see an open weight David and Goliath bout return. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm just appreciating you guys even humor me a little bit talking about it. And now
Sidario is too good to be the big guy, though. Normally in those situations, you look at a big guy who's not as technically as skilled as the littler guy, but Sidario is probably too good for that.
Oh, maybe it might be somebody else, but I was a good guess because that's who Ensign trains and stuff. So that's a great guess. And so now I'll plug the stuff I wanted to plug. I just want to plug.
No, wait. They asked for your guess.
I want to follow that up and say yes. Dario is a good guess, and then I have no idea who the David would be. I mean, who? Because like you said, there's hardly anybody in middleweight and 205 pounds now, even though that was some of their premier divisions when they first started. That's where Nemkov and Jiri Prohaska came from. It's the Epic Rizin. So
throw a curveball out here. It's going to be Saudi Oshima versus Ensign's girlfriend Sarah. Who?
No, wait,
that's
hold
how he
on.
knows.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's going to be Sekizawa versus Amanda Lucas.
Oh, there you go.
That's true.
Okay, that's more like it. I like that prediction. Amanda Lucas comes out of retirement. Defender.
Great, Chris. Who do you think this could possibly be?
I think Sarah fought. Sarah fought in Shuto, right? Isn't she she's strawweight at least, right?
To be honest, well, yeah, about that, I have no clue. But as far as my question, as far as the question being directed towards me, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, especially considering the fact that this is basically a card subject to change type of thing. We'll have to wait and see with everybody else just what this fight could be referred to as. It's a David versus Goliath fight. In y'all cases, it could be a Davita versus Goliath fight. But then again, who really knows? We just have to wait and see,
Yeah, maybe they might announce it at this Horizon event.
Well, first of all, I think Jay Chris brings the best point. It's card subject to change. At that time that they record that podcast, by the time that it aired, it could have been like already fallen through. And this is the one thing you got to worry about Rizin JayWolf. Don't believe his lie. Okay, we'll say don't believe, but don't believe anything until there's a set, until you see it as a graphic out in public.
All
No,
right.
not even that. Not even that.
that.
Don't believe it until like bills have been paid, fighters are showing up at a venue.
No,
Okay,
I'm a
fine.
glass half full guy. I'm glass half full always.
I'll
I choose to believe.
I'll
this
say
happens.
this. Maybe it involves Cesario. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't care until they say they either if Sakaki Bar comes out and says, hey, we're gonna have a thing and we'll announce it at a later date or something, then I'll be mildly more interested. But at this point, it's just hearsay to me.
Well,
honestly.
I will say, do you remember Koji's retired from kickboxing, right?
Yeah.
He has mentioned he wants to do weird stuff in Rizin.
Oh, there we
maybe
go.
Koji's gonna fight some bigger guy, in a boxing match. Koji versus Mayweather's bodyguard part 2.
I mean, how would Ensign know about that?
It's getting warmer here. I like it.
Would Ensign know about that? I don't know. It seems like so. I feel like he wouldn't even know about that.
Maybe they're trying to schedule something for the Hawaii show. Maybe BJ Penn's coming back. BJ Penn versus Cesario.
Oh,
no, that ain't happening.
What about Zach Zane? Zach Zane versus Cesario.
Isn't Zach Zane booked for something? Isn't he doing bare knuckle now?
Yeah, he's doing a slap fights.
Well, remember, look at all the fighters that are rumored to be going to the Epic Rizin later this year. Remember, they had Overeem in the ring as well. That's a huge fighter.
Overeem's retired. Overeem said he's retired.
Okay,
right?
yeah. Well, what? Okay. Also, Anderson the Spider Silva.
JayWolf. If these people were fighting, they would have announced it.
Anderson also doesn't want to fight in Rizin. Anderson just wants to fight Maha. Anderson
Luke
wants to fight
Zimmerman
Sakurai.
Anderson Silva said he's going to fight in MMA again one last time in Japan. That's going to be in the Epic Rizin.
Believe it when it happens, JayWolf. You gotta believe this stuff when it's
the
done.
glass
Don't
is half
believe.
full, brother. The glass is half full.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing I've learned.
The delusion is half full. Delusion is half full.
Here's the thing. I was so excited when that 2009 Star Trek movie came out. I was so excited. I thought we're getting fucking great Star Trek movie, and said I got that horse shit. Okay.
Now, Andrew, are you allowed to talk about movies during the writer's strike?
Well, this movie came out already. So yeah, this is years ago. Yeah. I can't promote new stuff. So yeah, years and years ago.
Yeah, but that movie was made during the last time they had a writer's strike. Remember?
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. Oh, okay.
I mean, you should remember the writer's strike of 2008, dude.
Oh, I don't keep track of stuff. Anyway,
oh
JayWolf.
my God.
JayWolf,
By the way, Luke Zimmerman saying in the comments that GZ Max's return is inevitable.
I hope not. JayWolf,
that'll be on the Maypac 2 card.
JayWolf, I need you to plug your stuff. We're running out of time. I need you to plug your stuff.
Hey, thank you for humoring me and talking about the David versus Goliath rumored fight. I appreciate that. And so the stuff I want to plug is first stuff with me and Teep. Of course, I'll talk about Teep to the Junk, one of the Bellator super fans. We just did an inordinately long preview on Teep's channel, Random Acoustic Thoughts on YouTube. Check it out. It's called Teep and JayWolf's inordinately long Bellator versus Rizin preview. Then tomorrow, I'm going to be doing focus fights with Jay Krish right here, the We Are Rizin podcast. Doing I'm gonna call it Jay Krish focus fights, Bellator Super Rizin Bellator preview, and it's going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, or whatever Jay Krish wants to title it. It's just going to be awesome. We're going to hopefully have Teep on as well, and we're going to be continuing this conversation about this summer blockbuster collaboration mega event. It's going to be a lot of fun, and then on the week after this collaboration mega event happens, so next week, no, not next week, 2 weeks from now, on Wednesday after the fights, it's going to be back on Teep's show on the Random Acoustic Thoughts YouTube channel for Teep and JayWolf's ridiculously long recap. And we're also going to have the Bellator Zone Bro Santiago on again to recap the event and tell us how it affects the rankings, because he's a rankings panelist, an official one, and he actually talks about all his rankings changes and stuff. Is really awesome. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you tune into all those shows, and of course this one as well. Hopefully you guys will have me back on, especially if they're going to do for the September 24th Rizin 44 show. If that's going to be another collaboration summer blockbuster mega event, I'd like to, or at least if not that one, for sure for the Landmark 6 caged event. Hopefully that one will also be another
Sorry, Jay,
collaboration.
I got to wrap you up. Jay, Chris.
Oh, wait, let me do my outro. The pride never die. Pride is rising. Cowabunga. How about that, Jay Chris? DJ?
Jay Chris? Jay Chris? Chris?
Okay, CJ, did you give out your stuff already?
I did.
Damn. So I guess it is me. Well, yeah. First of all, we're just glad that y'all are enjoying everything there is about the Rizin Fighting Federation, especially on this podcast in particular.
Yes.
Yes, I do have an upcoming streaming episode of the Focus Fights audio podcast. It probably won't be live on YouTube. It'll be uploaded for a very quick. It will probably be uploaded as soon as we're done posting everything. It'll be better than what I did last time with the whole Discord chat. But still, though, okay, you're gonna have to ask me to wrap it up. Blah blah blah. I mean, yeah. Point of the matter is, check out Focus Fights. See, I hate being pushed up against the ringer, Andrew. You know this. But yeah, check out Focus Fights,
tomorrow. Focus Fights audio tomorrow with Jay Chris.
Yeah, check out Focus Fights audio tomorrow. Check out our Linktree page. Follow us on Twitter at Focus Fights and at Focus Fights_AUD for more information. Check out all the social media handles we got on our Linktree page as well. That's all I can say about that. And Andrew, you have an episode of a podcast that you were a part of. I think
yes, Chris. I don't have time to talk about Chris. I'm sorry, I don't have time to talk about that. What I can say is I write for MMAsoccer.com. We are Rizin Pod.
Oh my god.
Personal Abenja1. Where I just talk about
personal for me at Chris Gary 92 on Twitter, at Christian Gary 1992 on Instagram. And one more time, just to plug, Super Rizin 2, 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific on Fight TV. The Bellator portion, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on Showtime next Saturday night / Sunday morning. Until then, we thank y'all for listening and watching and doing whatever. And as the great Lenny Hart always likes to say in closing, as we can get this Super Rizin season underway,